Hey everyone, this is Critical, the history of a bunch of dumb bullshit at this point, honestly. I'm Mongo, joined as always by my co-host Liger Busa. We were going to talk about the Wild Rings this week, and we can talk for a little bit about the game and why we're not doing a full review of it if you'd like. We could open up with that. But before we open up with that, it's been 2 weeks. How you been?
Pretty good. It was my birthday yesterday, so
Oh, happy birthday.
uh, thank you. That was a fun time. Had family over. Next year's a big 4-0, so um, mentally I don't feel 39, but I think physically I probably feel 93. uh, yeah, it's been a pretty good week overall. How about you?
Um, so obviously, I work retail, and
Oh yeah,
we're getting into the time of year where people start getting a little
roast.
silly. Yeah, Friday was a whole ordeal. So, new kid came in, and when it's going to be one of the busiest days of the year to date, that's just the time that you have somebody in to train them. He tells me after the first like go around of what we were doing, like, "Oh, I'm good from here." So I send him out on his way. Turns out he wasn't actually ready to do that shit by himself. I just kind of threw him into
Mm.
the fire, and then by the time my backup, who I had trained and who had only worked in my department a whopping 2 times after I trained her, came in, I find out towards the end of the day she's leaving. So there's another person who's like competent at the job that's just going to be gone. And it was like 3 weeks from Black Day on Friday, obviously. And I just looked around at like who my like backup is going to be on Black Friday. And I was just like, fuck, that's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long weekend. It's going to be a long holiday season. But honestly, like, a lot of the workplace dramas subsided, it seems, for the time being. Like we're not doing the somebody's getting fired drama every 3 days like we were for like two
That's
months.
good.
But yeah, it doesn't feel like early November, which is weird because we're due for a little bit of snow today and tomorrow, which I'm not ready for. I just, yeah, fuck it. Otherwise I can't complain. Like, been playing a lot of the Mortal Kombat collection. I restarted in Ninja Gaiden 4 because I'm a little bit of a doofus, and I got new action figures in, so I can talk about those when the appropriate time comes. But the Wild Rings,
Yep.
um, I was looking forward to playing that, but I also had the caveat of if Zimu cooperates, I'm down to review it. And it took forever for me to get Vim's Lair to show me the path to a copy of the Wild Rings. Because I mean, I can buy a disc-based copy of it. What the fuck am I going to do with it? I don't have an Xbox. Um, and when I finally got everything set up, I could not get that game once the match actually started to run above like 32 frames per second, which is not a fair representation of that game at all. And I didn't want to give a review where I was basically like, "Yeah, couldn't fucking get the game to run, so take the wheel," because that's not fair.
Yeah, I think before I tried to run it on the Steam Deck, and I think I ran into the same issue. Well, obviously, if you're running to it, I would have as well. I think I messed around with the settings, and nothing seemed to really work. Um, so I bought a copy of the game, and I played it on my Xbox, and then I was like, I'd really like to, record footage of it, but from past experience, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work very well. But I loaded up Zemo on my computer and found an English translation. I think it's mostly like it's the moves as well, but other than that, it's like the wrestlers. The game menus and stuff by default are in English. But I downloaded that, and to my shock, it like ran perfectly. There's a little bit of like graphical glitches in like the wrestler select, like the graphics aren't loading in, and I think that's because I read like the graphics are like a part of the code in some way, so it doesn't fully show up in game or something like that. Um, but yeah, I think the previous time I played this too, I played it on normal. So there's three speed settings. There's normal, turbo, and ultra turbo, which I don't think I actually realized before, which make a big difference whether you're simming or actually playing the game. But I put up a video on our YouTube channel. You can find it through the link tree, or just like if you search the World Rings on YouTube, it's probably like the first result because I don't think there's that many videos.
No, there's
Um,
not.
but I enjoyed this game quite a bit. Like it's definitely flawed. I think there's some issues with the AI and hit detection and some other things, but overall, I think like it's a pretty fun experience. It's developed by SNEO, so we obviously we talk about Spike and Human, but we don't really talk about development of some of those Fire Pro games, the development team, because SNEO was a developer of Fire Pro G, Fire Pro D, Z or Z, whatever you want to call it, Returns, and they also made Big Bang Pro Wrestling. So they got a lot of experience in making, like, in my opinion, like the best Fire Pro games. So this was like their next project, and I saw it at a lot of places when the developer was credited as Payon Corporation, but I looked at SNEO's archive website, and they were listed it as under their credits. So uh, yeah, it's weird to call it a wrestling game because it's not really a wrestling game. It's like a combination of different styles. But if you do consider it a wrestling game, I mean, even the core wrestling gameplay is, I'd say, by far the best wrestling game on the Xbox. Yeah, it's super interesting. Like the time frame it came out. It's that we're fully into like the rise of Pride, and pro wrestling is on like a downturn. So I'm sure they just had the idea of, well, we can't really make a full-on pro wrestling game. What if we make MMA as well, and then we'll add all these other styles too? It's just such an interesting idea.
I'm wondering, were they the main devs on the Fire Pro games, or were they a support dev? Because from what I noticed of this plays like super different to Fire Pro.
Oh yeah, definitely. From what I can find, the only thing I've been able to find is that they were listed as the developer of those games, or Fire Pro games, on their website. They're just listed as this. It's just like, this is what we worked on. I haven't been able to find anything else that said anyone but them worked on them. But it's decades old now, so maybe that was the case. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been wondering that since you brought that up, because like I do have a history with the Fire Pro games, or just games in general. Like they'll bring on a support dev and also credit them.
Yeah,
Because like human had like an in-house development team, and it's weird to hear how many games they had their hands on anyway. SNEO, because like Big Bang Pro Wrestling's not really like Fire Pro either. So it's like a
Y-
pretty wide variety of like play styles. It's kind of neat.
yeah, it's crazy. Just the type of different things they did in the wrestling genre. And you talked about like how this game plays, and yeah, you're right. It doesn't really play like Fire Pro. I mean, you've got your weak, medium, and strong attacks and grapples. But as far as like controls and stuff, it's like it's quite different. You've got your L1 is like your block, and you move with the the left analog stick, and the right analog stick is like what picks up your opponent, or turns them over and stuff. And it also is what you use to exit the ring and jump up the top rope. So, and you consider it, like, even for that time period, it feels very different because we're not really in that point where we're with the original Xbox, where we're using the analog necessarily for all those different types of controls. So that still feels a bit different. And the game itself, I've covered like pretty much everything on that video, but so you've got like two different arenas, but they're both seems to be based on Ryogoku. The only difference is one of them, the crowd has like a bunch of signs, so it's like, oh, this is the American arena, and you've got a whole bunch of different rings. Like there's a K1 inspired ring, Pride, New Japan. There's a boxing ring. They put like an amateur mat, like the circle, but it's in a wrestling ring, but it's their way to like represent that, which I thought was pretty neat. And you've got the referees. You've got Joe Higuchi, Yuji Shimada from Pride, and an American referee, like a balding American referee, which I think maybe is like the guy that they were using in 0-1 at the time. And then you've got your basic match types, obviously exhibition and tournament and league. You've got 6-man tags, which I thought was quite interesting for that time too. And then you've got your 6-man battle royal. There's a mode called Champions Road, and that's how you unlock the fighters in the game. There's a pro wrestling one, and then there's a total fighting one, and it's 30 matches each, so it lasts quite a while. But I was determined, so I beat both of them in one sitting, and it's fun because you get to wrestle or fight the unlocks as you're going through the mode as well. It's not just like they appear at the end; they actually show up in the mode. And it's neat because they've got like Inoki, but he looks more like that old wrestler. I think his name is Ueda, who was like the first guy that was like the blonde Japanese type that, like
Yeah.
like Yano and all them with like copycat. Inoki by default kind of looks like him, like the same like sort of attire, and he's like darker skinned, and it's very much like the Aki games where you go in and you change the faces and the attire, and you can also change like the body type and stuff, and the move set. Everything's customizable when it comes to like the default wrestlers. But they do a really funny thing is where each wrestler has 3 faces. So, for example, Ric Flair by default has a beard, but if you go 2 faces back, then that's Ric Flair. Like that's the proper Ric Flair face. And they just do really funny stuff like that.
I really want to play this game now. This sounds like a hoot.
Yeah, it's cool. It was surprisingly cool because like I didn't for years I never heard much about this game at all because no one really imported it. Like it wasn't a thing within the community. It's like it was a big deal to me when it first came out because it's like, whoa, another wrestling game and it's on the Xbox. Like what? Like I need to play this. But it's the Xbox in Japan. Like not many people had a reason to import one. So there wasn't that many people who got their hands on it, and I think the people that did were just kind of like, it's okay. And I feel like the only gameplay videos is like maybe in hashtag Fire Pro, maybe somebody posted something back in the day on the IRC chat, but other than that, you had like Mike Reagan's Gaming Ring, and there wasn't much more than that. So to actually get my hands on it, I was like, oh shit, there's like some cool stuff here. I think some of the like luchadors have like some missions that you don't really see in other games. So I thought that was cool because it's just, I think when you think of like lucha libre in games, you just think of like high flying, but they went and obviously added the submission too because that's a big part of it as well. One of the areas that I find frustrating with the game is that, for example, you'll unlock Ultimo Dragon, and you unlock this green mask, and it's like, oh, that's kind of okay. And there's like mask pots you can put with it, like just like in the Aki games. So you get like the proper pot, and it's like, oh, that looks better. And then you go over one, and you get a blue mask that's like 100% accurate or very close. Like that's Ultimo Dragon. It's like holy shit. But there's no like shoulder pods that would go with him, so it kind of sucks in that area where you'll get something that looks perfect, but you can't really complete it. It's the same thing. There's like a Hayabusa mask in the game that looks great, but there's no like attire you can use for him. They've got a Bam Bam Bigelow head, but there's no like flames attire or anything that looks right, which is unfortunate. They've got Goldberg's head in the game, but there's no jackhammer. So it's like I hate to make the comparison because we talked about it nonstop, but there's sort of a comparison to Fight Forever, where you'll get like the entrance motion for like somebody, but you don't have the move set for them to want to play as them. And in this, it's very much the same thing. You don't have maybe the moves, or you don't have the proper attire for them. The moveset they do have is very focused on the default wrestlers. So, for example, they've got the Rock in, and you've got like a Rock style DDT, Rock bottom. Just bring it taunt, and you've got he doesn't do the setup, but you've got the people's elbow and stuff like that. So they do a pretty good job with the fighters that are default in the game. But when you're trying to create someone that's not on that default roster, then it becomes a bit tough.
It's also fascinating that it's like a Microsoft like published game.
Yeah, that's I think the thing that surprised me about that the most is that during the launch of the Xbox, you had The Rock promoting it, and then here you've got like a Microsoft published game that has The Rock as like a default, character for bogus name. I thought that was interesting.
That like those like Xbox press events where it's like here's The Rock and here's WWF Raw, which is going to be a launch title. Those are
Yeah,
always like really funny pictures to see looking back because like no, that game wasn't.
no, and it's nowhere near as good as this game. Um,
No, no,
on the
it's
Wiki,
not.
on the Wikipedia article for this, they mentioned that it was going to get a US release. I don't know if that's true or not. Not something I remember from back in the day. But if it did, I mean, it could have been very interesting because if it sold well, I mean, there could have been an opportunity for a sequel. I don't think they had much of a chance just being Japan exclusive. But if you
No,
think
especially on
like,
the Xbox.
yeah, absolutely. If it was successful and they got like a sequel on the 360, I think the stuff that they could have done would have been insane. Um, but yeah,
The
like,
US release thing, I'll say this real quick.
uh huh,
That was a time period where every Japanese wrestling game basically was being flagged as having a US release.
true.
BAM was going to do a US exclusive Fire Pro on the GameCube, which I forgot about the US exclusive thing until somebody brought that up to me recently. Like, yeah, no, that was going to be a BAM funded fucking game that might not have gotten a Japanese release. King of Colosseum was slated for a US release. I think maybe under the name Gladiator Wrestling, something like that.
Yeah, I
But like
remember that.
KFC
Yeah,
was absolutely listed. I vaguely remember this game being listed. It might have been on GameSpot. It might not have been. And All Star Pro Wrestling 1, which obviously is a couple years earlier, that game was listed in at least I think one magazine that I remember reading that it was getting a US release later in 2000, and then obviously never did. And
yeah.
think about that. Like if All Star 1 got a North American release, it wouldn't have sold very well at all.
It wouldn't, but I think it would have opened a lot of eyes, at least domestically, what a game on the PS2 could have been. If you compare it to
It's a
like,
very nice looking game.
yeah, if you compare it to like Just Bring It, it's quite a difference.
Yeah, we talked about it when we talked about Just Bring It, but like that game does not look that much better than SmackDown 2.
No, no, it's like it's definitely not the opening intro that you get in that game for sure.
No, and like when you see like SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, that's a lot closer to what you probably would have thought the first WWF game on the PS2 was going to look like.
Yeah, yeah,
Like those characters, like look at Undertaker and Just Bring It, and look at him and Shut Your Mouth, or Rock, or basically anybody that's in both games. The level of detail between like the first game on the PS2 and the second, it's crazy. Like just the gap and like the quality of the models and the textures and like yeah, no, All Star Pro, like if you put the entrances from Just Bring It next to the ones from All Star Pro looks like it's a console generation ahead of Just Bring It.
All Star Pro feels like the same console as Metal Gear Solid 2, if you know what I mean. It's like a
Yeah,
level of innovation and graphics and sort of detail in those games that really show off the quality of the system.
yeah, and I don't know what the culprit is with Just Bring It necessarily. Like, well, I do know because that game had the second game gets shoved out the door in November, and the plan was to have Just Bring It out in the summer. Not that excuses, like even if it came out like July of '01, like it still looked like shit.
Mm.
But like they were trying to pump those SmackDown games out at a pace that makes no fucking sense. Because why do you want SmackDown to come out in the summer? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the development times and release dates were quite wonky back then.
Because like SmackDown 1 and 2 are like 8 months apart. So you mean
Yeah.
to tell me they were planning to drop 3 fucking games in a year and a half? Crazy. And also, I'll note from the gameplay footage I've seen, Wild Rings looks better than either of the two Raw games. I don't think it looks better graphically than Mania 21, but I don't think a lot of wrestling games look better graphically than that.
I think the weirdest part about the Wild Rings is that the eyes are very like dead eyes, and they're almost like discolored and like distracting, especially when you have like dark skinned characters. The eyes really stand out and look very goofy in some cases. So I think graphically that's probably like the worst part of the game, but like some of the faces are so good. Like Vader looks exactly like him, and the Goldberg head that's in the game looks just like him. Abdullah the Butcher's another head that's in there. And once you actually get the proper heads, like a lot of them look great. Like Don Fry is another one that looks really good. Wanderlei Silva. There's a lot of them that just like, oh yeah, that's definitely who that's supposed to be. It's funny because in the comments of that video, I put up the roster list, and I had it. Everyone right except for one, who I'm not entirely sure on, who's a Russian boxer. But like some of the lists I saw on there is like they had like the two Zumo wrestlers listed as like Akibono and Ricky Dozan, and I'm like, the way to find out who it really is just you just look up the birth date. For whatever reason, the K1 fighters are all wrong, but everything else seems to be correct. And if you just put it in the birth date, and then you'll get like a fight, and you look at their faces, and it's like, yeah, that's definitely who that is. So it was a lot of that, just me like looking up the birth date of people and confirming. There were some wrestlers in that where the faces aren't as great. But I was like, I'm just not sure. I like Yoshinori Yugawa's in there, but at first, judging by his default appearance, I thought it was Koji Kanemoto, and I was like, and then I looked at the moves, and I was like, backdrop hold. There's like a finish and some other stuff. I'm like, this can't be Kanemoto. And then I looked up the birthday, and I was like, oh shit, it's Ogawa. Okay, that's crazy. Um, the hair is like you can spend like forever like going through the hairs and trying to get like the correct one. Like unless it's like somebody that's really specific, like Vader or Hogan, it's like I don't know if this is right. Like, should I go with this hairstyle or this? It's just like it takes a. If you're someone like me, you can take a long time going through that. And but yeah, it's exactly like the Yaki games when it comes to things like that. It's I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot of potential for this game, and the way the different styles too like differ, and they put some effort into making everybody feel different. Like obviously when you're like an MMA fighter, you're not going to see like a lot of pro wrestling moves and stuff. And I feel too that when you pick somebody different than a pro wrestler, you don't necessarily see a lot of pins. So it benefits you if you're doing like a pro wrestling match, or if you're doing like a tag match, you kind of want to have a pro wrestler in there, at least somebody good of submission, so you can have somebody at least trying to win the match. It's cool too because like Alexander Carolyn has like a different pin, like an amateur style pin, and I was like, oh, holy shit, that looks really cool. And he has like the Carolyn lift too, which like looks good in every game it's in. Uh, yeah, and like they have like Rulon Gardner. I think that's probably like, except for maybe like if he's in like the Game Boy Advance Fire Pros, it's probably like the only game he's in, right?
I don't
Um,
think he's in those. No.
yeah. So some of like the karate guys and judo, probably like the only game they've been in. Um, God damn, it's like it's a really cool game. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like impressed by it.
I need to play it eventually because it all sounds really fucking neat. Um,
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to go over too is like the speed. So when you play it on normal, it feels a little bit too slow. And then when you play it on turbo, I feel like that's good if you want to sim matches, because it just seems like the proper speed. And if you get the right difficulty setting, which is like right in the middle, that's when the computer engages the most. So if you want to sim matches, like that's the best to do it. Ultra turbo, if you're watching a match, it feels a bit too fast. But if you're just playing it, I feel it feels fine. It definitely feels like more of an arcade experience. Not totally, but just based on the speed itself. Like the move animations and stuff are a lot faster. They don't last as long. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend anyone play it on normal by default. I'd recommend changing it.
so I have no good segue to what I wanted to talk about next.
That's okay.
You sent me the video because Sam put up the video of the UPW modding pitch, quote unquote, right? I watched it. Don't really
Uh-huh.
have anything to say about. I watched it with the sound off because I was just like, I was in the break room at work when I watched it. I want to say, but I'm looking at I'm looking at the comments on here and like, yeah, not the most positive. And then I
Okay,
see Jay Barnacles in the comments, and brother, come on.
I haven't seen the comments on YouTube. I've only seen the comments on their Discord, which are often
Okay,
biased.
well, this game is a dream, never happened, never gonna happen. If this game at least launch a demo, you have us all in. Still more faithless than the wrestling. Because someone replied to that with both are vaporware, clearly. Um, what publishing slash investing company looks at your game says we want to see what your game looks like outside of what your original idea was. Also, when was footage taken? This is the most gameplay we've seen lately. And it's just a mod concept. Any news on something like a one-on-one demo still at all? Anything? Not even asking for entrances, just playing the match.
Interesting.
And I kicked the tires as to if we should talk about this or not, but I got sent a screenshot from Reddit and take a shot every time something comes out that I can just be like, there's another PWX Dave parallel. Um, so I got sent a screenshot from the N64 wrestling game subreddit from a post titled "Anyone Gave Up on Ultra Pro Wrestling," and this is all unconfirmed. This is all alleged. I am not saying this happened. I am not saying it didn't happen. I am just saying this is what somebody has alleged, and this lines up with PWX Dave. Oh, I was supposed to read the reply. I'm sorry. Old thread, but came across this thread talking about the dude in charge. Grew up with him. Bullshitter of the highest regard. Always has been. He ended up scamming ICW out of money for an indie wrestling video game years ago, and I wouldn't trust the dude to run a bath, never mind development of a game. Now, this is all alleged. There is no evidence one way or the other. This is just somebody talking on Reddit. But this did get sent to me, and then someone else did ask me if I saw it. So I sent it to you, and I was like, it's another one for the PWX Dave folder because we've heard similar allegations about Dave. And I don't necessarily believe any of this to be true, but this is also kind of what we talked about last time. When you don't show stuff of any substance, or you're being really secretive about stuff, but you're still taking people's money on Patreon and you took money on a Kickstarter, shit like this is going to start to surface. And again, I'm not saying this actually happened. This is all alleged. But you can do all the update videos you want if you're not showing anything of actual substance. If the demo that was basically promised is no longer going to be a thing, if we're just gonna do like the PP dance around like basically everything surrounding this game, you can't get mad when people start to say shit like this. You can't get mad when your YouTube comment section looks the way that video's comment section does. And this is fight forever at this point. We're beating the dead horse, but like every time I see or hear anything about this game, it's like another PWX fucking like comparison.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
the YouTube comments that you said, I mean, were pretty valid. I don't think you can look at any of those comments and be like, well, those aren't fair. You know what I mean? It's like when people are asking to like release matches and stuff. I mean, it's are like I don't know. I just felt like those comments weren't like as outlandish as you would expect from like YouTube comments.
And
It's
there
just
are
like, oh,
positive ones, but
yeah,
there's
of
also
course.
ones like, why does this game get progressively worse with every excuse? At some point, y'all got to be honest. This ain't coming out, is it? This game will release when I'm 60 in 40 years. And then you have the people, like, if I had to guess, I'd guess either WWE, AEW, or TNA were interested in turning UPW into an official game. No, they weren't. No. AEW did not court hyper-focus games. People have to stop this shit.
No, I could see like maybe TNA, but like I don't even know about that. Who knows?
This person said, extremely unfortunate, but I feel like this game has lost way too much hype, if not all of it. It's constantly way too much time between updates and news. A whole year after the demo release was supposed to happen, there's still little to no gameplay out there. That's valid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing we always go through, and you're bringing up PWX, but like, it starts off with a lot of hype, and you get like all these announcements and stuff, and then you get to the actual development of the game itself, and you're left with periods without like much information, or like obviously like no actual gameplay. There's delays and stuff like that. No, obviously shit happens, but I think when people talk about their projects, or try to start a project like this in the future, you've got to keep things realistic, and I think that's what a lot of other independent developers are doing. When you think of like Steve Mason, or like you remember like the 2D game with like the ladders and chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
They just put up a video recently on YouTube, and it looks really good. But like they didn't say anything for months, but they're also not like out there promoting themselves. They're not like, hey, look at this at all points, you know. And UPW is not doing that right now, but they did start like that. You know, there's a very much like. I think the problem is when you first saw that game and the idea and all the names announced, you didn't necessarily think that it was just like a team of like 4 people or 3 people or whatever, right? Because of the hype that was put into it. Like there was a lot. There was a lot of, you know, the early video and like eventually the DLC names that came out and like the press releases. It didn't come across as like this is a very small team. Like we knew it was independent, but we didn't know how small it actually was, I think, to begin with. And now the realization came in, it's like, oh, like they don't necessarily have the resources that they need. They don't have a publisher. They've only got a few people working on it. So like and I just don't think that went into people's minds when it was first announced, because I don't think it was really conveyed that well.
No, it wasn't. But also, being ambitious is not a bad thing. Announcing a game that's as broad in scope as this, with all of the DLC names, when you don't have, let's just call it what it is, you don't have an actual dev team. You have one person. If this is like a thing that we're actually going to be able to play, and we started this with the wrestling code years ago. I'll start it with UPW now and fucking prove me wrong. But if this is something we're going to play, and like it's going to be an actual thing, you have one person working on this. And remember like a few weeks ago or a few months ago when like, oh, we're going to have to create a fan. Why the fuck make the game first? It's when you get into that really ambitious stuff. Because remember, Virtual Basement came out like, we're going to have octagonal rings and different scales of rings and all these gimmick matches and stuff. Where's that game at?
Yeah, and being ambitious isn't a bad thing, but you've also got to be
realistic.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to reel yourself in and think about, oh, what can we do now, you know, and not think about like what we're going to do later. I mean, that's all well and good saying like we're going to have this and that, but like you've got to focus on the here and now, you know, and not in the future. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say really about it anymore. I don't really like talking about it too much unless there's like a video update, because I just don't feel like there's anything to talk about, really.
Well,
you know, what's that?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Right. I just mean like it's like we've gone through like the big hype and what people thought it was, and people thought it was going to be out now and all this, and it's like, well, that's gone. So it's like, oh, what's really is there left to say? You know, I'm just waiting. Like that's all we can do is wait. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not too worried about the money that I put into it, because it was so long ago that I don't remember how much I put in. I don't think it was that much, but yeah, I just want to see like the finished. I want to have something in my hands. I want a demo. I want to see more stuff. I don't care if people are being too harsh on social media. If your footage is good, if it looks good, then people are going to get over it. And if they don't, Like, if I think it's good, I don't give a shit about anyone else. So, I want to see more stuff. I want some concrete stuff. You know, I don't just want like, I don't know. I mean,
A bunch of animations where it's like, here's all the animations, and it's like, here's one person in the brainbuster, here's the person taking the brainbuster. Is like cool. You have animations, however you got them in the game, but
yeah,
like none of these are actual updates. None of this is showing actual gameplay progress. Where's a full match? And someone else I was talking to, the person that sent me the screenshot was like, "Yeah, it's kind of crazy how the indie wrestling game bubble kind of burst, huh?" Because you don't see these things
yeah.
being announced anymore. The hype around them is basically gone because a whole new generation got to learn what we learned 20 fucking years ago.
Hmm.
The
You
only
know,
difference now is the teasers have actual wrestlers in them instead of like just original characters Dave came up with because he thought they were funny.
honestly, what was like looking back, the most impressive thing about that last gameplay video they released was um the wrestler jumping over the barricade. Because I was like, oh, that's like something that's unique. That's like something that wasn't in the Aki games. Like that wasn't there. That's cool. Like seeing the Aki man or whoever it was like go over the barricade and into the crowd. And obviously, it's not like any interaction setup or anything. But I was like, that's really cool. Like that's something that I haven't seen. Um, so I would like to see like little things like that are unique to this game too. Uh, but yeah, it's frustrating to talk about because on one point it's like I'm not active necessarily on the Discord, but I look in it now and then, and I don't know. It's just I don't know what to say. Really, it's just like I see a lot of people that are hyped still, but it's also like a small number of people, and I don't know. It just sucks. Let's just put it that way.
And also, like, there would be nothing wrong, like the creative fan stuff and all the other like superfluous bullshit, to be perfectly blunt, that's been announced. That there's no problem with having that as like a post-launch thing as part of like a roadmap. But why the fuck are you talking about that when we don't have like actual gameplay footage? When there's no demo? When we don't have a release date on the actual game? Why is the focus seemingly on we're going to do everything? Well, I get it because you have to keep people excited so that God, this is cynical as shit. You've got to keep people excited so they keep subscribing to the Patreon so you have money coming in. And
Right.
is that Patreon providing enough money to actually fund development at this point?
In the last update, I mean, he talked about like the funds are sort of running thin and like really pushed for the Patreon. I mean, he said like if they have to sell the studio, they would, and it's like that doesn't sound good.
Well, what are you actually getting on the Patreon? Because we were led to believe the Patreon was going to be something that was frequently updated with looks at gameplay and character models, like regular, like you paid your money, so you get to see this before social media. Everything they post eventually ends up on YouTube, seemingly, most of it. And like, what incentive do I have? And also at this point, if you're somebody who feels like you might have been burned by either backing the Kickstarter or getting on the hype train, what incentive do you have to support the Patreon when you can go and look and see like how frequently they update and what the updates actually are without like you'll see like the general idea of the post without seeing the post. Why would you throw money in? There's no reason to be optimistic about like any of these fucking games at this point. That might hurt some feelings from people that listen to the show, but like developing a wrestling game is hard. Developing a wrestling game that you actually intend to release and not use to grift people, and this isn't a UPW shot, this is a shot at a lot of people just in general. Like using I'm making a wrestling game to like try to get people to give you money, because there were talks at one point years ago about like virtual basement possibly looking into like crowdfunding for certain aspects of the game, and like thank God that didn't happen. But the longer you go without delivering anything, and this also does apply to PWX Dave again, the longer you go without giving people anything that even remotely resembles what you've promised, the more and more things start looking like a grift, even if that's not the original intent.
Right. Yeah. That's
And
why I prefer like these projects that are like barely talk about anything and just sort of pop up now and then with updates. You know, the whole UPW thing of like announcing DLC and this and that has definitely become a negative.
it's the same playbook the fucking Virtual Basement had, like the exact same playbook.
Yeah, I mean the big difference is that they at least had something to show for UPW at some point. Well, I guess Virtual Basement kind of did, but like at the same time, like did they really? You know what I
It looked
mean?
like shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reality too with wrestling games that people have to realize is that you need money behind it. Like you, and I don't mean like crowdfunding. You need to find somebody
You
that's
need a
gonna
publisher.
yeah. It's sad because we shouldn't have to go through this. Like if you look at other genres and like you'll find like independent like soccer games and like American football games and hockey games and stuff like this. But it just does not work with wrestling. You need somebody big behind it or things go south really quickly. Unfortunately, with the state of things, it doesn't seem like anyone's willing to do that, which is super disappointing. But that's kind of how we've lived for wrestling games for like years now, right?
Yeah, like 25 years for the most part. And another important thing, we talk about it all the time, you need to have a license of some sort. Like the Legends of Wrestling games did as well as they did because they filled in like a niche that wasn't ever really filled before. Like here's a bunch of guys that are big names from the past.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a Legends roster, every WWE game comes with a built-in Legends roster. Whether or not the guys look or wrestle like they should is a completely different fucking talking point. But you can't be like, here's 300 guys and you're gonna have to pay like $5 potentially for all of them, and then think that's going to be a successful business model. And no publisher is going to co-sign that either. And
Yeah,
so that's when you get into like weird situations. Like, what do those UPW contracts look like if a publisher comes along and goes, no, round up like 40 or 50 of the biggest names you have signed because they have that many, and they're going to be on the launch roster. What do those contracts look like then?
yeah, exactly. It's a hard sell to anyone with just like a fictional roster and saying like, hey, you're gonna have to buy all these. I mean, if like I understand that they're an independent developer, but like not everyone understands that. So if you're trying to sell your game on like Switch and Xbox and PlayStation, and you're just an average person that's looking at at the store and you say like a wrestling game and you go to buy it and then wait, I have to pay for all these people, or like none of them are included in the default, then it becomes really weird to people, I feel. Um, yeah, I don't. That's another aspect about like the DLC and stuff and how's that gonna go. It seemed like a neat idea at first, but like the more I think about it, it just seems like that it's not going to be valuable to anyone. Like, I mean,
No.
obviously to the player base who wants to buy these wrestlers, and there's people like us that are hardcore fans that are gonna be like, oh, I want this person. But I just think of like the general player who maybe they were an old fan or a current fan, but they may not be willing to spend the money on each individual wrestler like that. I mean, people are used to buying packs, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Especially with WWE, like you get a DLC pack, and it's like buying one wrestler at a time. And they've talked about packs as well, but it's like, they've said like that's stuff they're gonna have to work out, like who's willing to do that, and maybe like take a cut on the price and stuff like that. Or what if they aren't? Then what do you do?
Yeah, it's in a very the business model is a very weird thing because especially with like, the economy being what it is globally right now, if you're asking people, I just want to make sure my math is correct on this. Let's say the DLC is $5 each, right?
Right.
And let's say they have like 165 people signed. Just throw out a round figure. That's $825 in DLC. Nobody is spending that. And I know that like
Oh.
Hal Haney was on Twitter like, well, we look at it like collecting action figures. You don't have to get everybody. Well, what they've said, the fucking snowplow, the Northern Lights bomb, is going to be locked behind the Al Snow DLC. So if I
Mm.
want to make Kensuke Sasaki, I have to spend $5 to get fucking Al Snow.
And that's quite a difference too, because if when it comes to action figures, I don't want every action figure because I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. But
Right.
like when it comes to video game, if I don't have moves here and there, then I do feel like I'm missing out. Like I want all the moves possible. Like I want the full experience. That's why people buy like special editions, like a year after all the DLC is released and stuff, because they want the full package. And you never really go through that with action figures.
And another reason the action figure thing doesn't make any sense, because I'm sure you did this as well as a kid. You can make the action figures do whatever fucking move you want. Like if I wanted,
Yeah.
I could go grab like my Supreme Will Osprey off the shelf, my Supreme Sting off the shelf, and if I want Will Osprey to do the fucking Burning Hammer, I just make the figure do that shit. I don't have to go pay $5 for a Kenta Kobashi figure for the ability to fucking have Will Osprey do that move.
Yeah, the only reason you have to buy like multiple figures is like if you're doing like a builder figure. But like I don't really find those worth it anyway. Like I'm not gonna buy a guy that I really don't like just to get a guy that I somewhat like. You know what I mean? It's just like I'll
Yeah,
go without it. I don't want a guy that I'm not interested on my shelf to have another guy that I do like. And it never works out where like every series is like I want each one of these. You know what I mean? So I take what I want, but when it comes to a video game, it's like I want the complete experience. I don't want to feel like I'm missing anything. And if there's so much luck behind DLC, then I I don't know how you can do that. You can't put that much DLC up for that price. That's just no one's going to be able to spend that much money. It's not realistic, right? Like I don't know what the
no,
prices are for things like Fortnite and stuff like that, but you're talking about like something huge that people are willing to invest a lot of money into, and I don't think. I mean, wrestling games as it is a niche market. I don't think a lot of people are going to be willing to invest, a massive amount in DLC for a wrestling game.
let's say it's even 80 wrestlers at $5. That's $400.
Yeah,
That's $50 less than a fucking Switch 2. I there's not a wrestling game that has ever been released. Like even in the hypothetical world where like the PS2 would have had DLC, I don't think I would have dropped 400 on KOC2 DLC, because
no,
I mean that game gives me everything I fucking would have wanted anyway. It's a ridiculous business model, and I understand like you can't just pay people a flat fee up front. I don't know what the sales pitch was on like the revenue split, but I unless you're fine with the talent getting peanuts, you how does this DLC model proceed forward? Because the best way to do it would be to sell it at a lower price. But let's be honest, we've talked about this a bunch. This game doesn't have a very high ceiling in terms of sales. So I understand wanting to get the most money possible out of the people that do buy the game. But, you know, fucking $5 for DLC. I
yeah.
don't want to pay $5 for Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I mean,
I love Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but
I don't remember how the breakdown worked as well, but like,
I don't have
it,
the PDF anymore. That's long gone.
yeah, it's like you don't also want to like rest your or count your profits on DLC either, right? Like,
No.
yeah. So I keep thinking like the base game should have had like people that made up like the roster from like the original Aki games. Like if you loaded it up and you had guys from all different Aki games, that would have been very cool, right? Like you'd have people representing Revenge and WrestleMania 2000 and VPW2, whatever. Like a bunch of them are there, and then you open up the rest of the DLC. Um, yeah, I don't know how it's gonna work out. The more I think about it, I'm just like I don't know how this is gonna happen, but we'll wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, and this will probably be the last time we talk about UPW on the show for a minute, unless there's like a substantial update of some
I'm sure
sort.
there'll be an update. There's going to be an update every month, it seems. They've been doing things, so we'll see what happens this month. But yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily like talking about it because it's just at this point it's like I'm waiting for something, as you said, substantial to come forward, and I don't know when that's going to happen yet.
Well, also, there's always the possibility you get sent a message where somebody tries to like be like, "Well,
Uh,
here's why this is happening," and
that,
like,
that doesn't happen anymore because I sent a message a while ago about your viewpoint on things. It was a very long message, and I was like rambling to you, and that was like the last message I sent. And that was months ago. So, sometimes I'll post in the Discord, but it's like usually nothing serious or anything. It's just like me fooling around. Like someone will say something dumb, and I'll just be like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, all right." Um, what was it the other
I
day?
don't even
Somebody said,
remember that honestly.
"Oh, that
I,
was a
I
while
also
ago."
forget a lot of things. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
imagine.
There's something someone posted a little while ago that was really silly. Now I can't remember what it was. I mean, there's always somebody in there that's like, "Oh, this is gonna be the best thing ever." I mean, the thing that they were on about too was like that pitch video, and they're like, "This shows it's a real game," and I'm like, "Well,
No, it
not
doesn't.
really, not really."
So that to circle back to my original point, having seen that, nothing in there looks particularly encouraging.
I mean, I didn't think the footage looked bad, but as far as like pitches go, you remember like he showed off like he was doing like a remake of Revenge, and he was also doing that thing of like a Fire Pro character in it. And it's like if you consider the pitch like real gameplay, and this is for the people on the Discord, and this is the big gotcha to people who see it's not. Do you consider those real gameplay as well? You know what I mean? It's
No,
like exactly. So the idea that people would be like, "This proves it," it's like, well, not really, dude.
no, people are. It's crazy. We used to have one Road Warrior Ace, and now both of these games that don't really have a whole lot to show for it have like a whole fucking legion of them.
He's back. Did you know that?
Yeah, no, I asked him once about being on the podcast, and he said he would have to get a new headset, and I never followed up.
He's on their Discord, but I've never seen him mention the Road Warriors or Doctor Death.
Huh? I
Weird.
know he finally got a refund from Dave
Oh, that's good.
like 10 years ago. I remember I was in a Skype call with somebody from the Fire Pro Arena or Club Facebook page. Shout outs to Brandon. There's no chance he's fucking listening to this. Um, and we were in like a fucking Skype call. It might have even been when we were playing like Pokemon X online or whatever. And I was like, dude, look at this shit. And I screen shared, and he's like, holy fuck, Road Warrior Ace finally got a refund. And I was like, yeah, it's over for PWX. And
Poor guy.
yeah, he was the most loyal PWX soldier there was, man.
Yeah, it was. It's sad. Holy shit. You know the way like obviously we've been through it and seen what happened with PWX, but there's always a new generation that's willing to put everything they feel behind a new project, and it's like, guys, you really should wait. You should wait till you get your hands on something because it's not worth it. Like you could be waiting another 5 years and you don't want to have the same feelings 5 years from now. You likely won't. So just wait before you start calling this the best thing ever before you actually touch it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and as wrestling fans, we've learned that lesson a lot.
Uh huh.
Like a lot. Um I did hear that they've been showing off some of the Saturday night's main event DLC. I was sent the Paul Orndorff entrance. And that's kind of
I
all I
thought it
got.
was I thought it was all right. Like his hair being as wavy as it was is like that's always a problem in these games. Like that looks weird. Like his hair shouldn't move like that. I felt like the face. Paul Orndorff has got a weird face, so I felt like the face was it was all right. I like that he had this old theme. That's cool. They showed off the Jesse Ventura. I mean, I didn't really have any thoughts about that. And then they showed off Tito, and he's got his theme song. Like I'm a Tito guy. I think people know that, so that's pretty cool. I mean, I wish Rick Martel was in here, but what are you gonna do? Hopefully, people get those Strike Force mods up and running.
How does the Tito model look? Because I didn't. Oh, hold on.
It's Tito's another guy that's kind of weird looking. Like I feel like he's a hard person to capture, and I think they did an alright job of it.
You know what? I can look at that and see Tito Santana.
Yeah,
It's not horrible. It's gonna suck when he doesn't play a single thing like he should, but
I saw that they added a new pinning power bomb for Sid, and it's more like how he used to like in WCW, sort of almost like the Thunderfire power bomb, but not really. You know, just like a pinning combination instead of just a regular power bomb. So that's cool. I mean, at least they added
have we
something
seen
new.
what his model looks like yet?
Not yet. That's I think the DLC releases like what Tuesday, so um, if not today, then probably tomorrow, right? I think him and Junkyard Dog. I can't remember if there's anyone else left to show.
Is that dog promo picture they're using actually a WWF picture? Because that looks like WCW dog.
I haven't seen it.
His hair's really short and he's looking a little more rotund.
Is this on their Twitter?
I think this is where I
Oh, I see what you're
yeah.
talking about now. I think that's a WWF 80s pick.
I think it's like how short his hair is like throwing me off because that could easily be him at the end of the run
Yeah.
too.
So, oh yeah, so
So
yeah, him and Sid are the last two.
I mean, at least this is the Saturday Night's Main Event pack, and all five of these people appeared on Saturday Night's Main Event. Didn't
They
they do like an
they've
Attitude Era pack where like they had like mid 2000s Victoria included?
yeah, Attitude
Fucking
Era
hell.
with Victoria, like what the fuck. They got to get Sid right because Sid is a model in the past that was hilariously bad, like just awful. And obviously, I've seen mods that are like just blow that out of the water. So I feel more confident seeing Tito and Orndorff and some of the models that they've released as DLC this year that they'll do a better job with Sid, but we'll see. We get his
I'm
theme
hoping
song
they
too,
don't
right?
recycle that old model. Wait, the
Oh,
Sid
they
Justice theme?
can't. I think we would, yeah. I think that's what he's
Do
gonna
we
have.
have like a do we have a decent quality version of that out there?
I don't think so. So that'll be people will be ripping that for sure. Um, I don't think they'll recycle Sid. They can't. That model is so bad that there's no way they can use it again. They've got to do something different. Also,
Well, hopefully.
I hope it's not just like a new hairstyle because obviously his hair was different between like the last DLC was like based on like '96 and Sid Justice had the longer hair. So we'll see.
I was thinking about this. They could do a Monday Night War Ultimate Sid, and they could be really funny about it and just say it's based on two different like a Raw appearance and a Nitro appearance, and just include the Winged Eagle and the Big Gold.
Yeah, they could definitely do that.
Like he doesn't change his gear like basically from like 97 onward. It's the same shit. I mean, there's the jeans in ECW, but that doesn't
Yeah,
count.
and then in like WCW in 2000, does he still wearing pants?
Maybe.
I could have sworn there was like I saw a video or a picture somewhere. It was like Sid in pants, and I was like, "What the hell? That looks wrong."
Wait, isn't he wearing jeans when he breaks his leg?
Yeah,
Okay. So it would have to specifically be like 97 WWF and 99 WCW on the same box.
yeah,
But
that
that would
works.
be, or do him as like a fucking Target Ultimate. Listen, I love Dusty. If we're willing to do Dusty as a Target Ultimate, we can Jim Duggan as a Target Ultimate. We can fucking do Sid.
I'm gonna I'm gonna send you this picture. Look how wrong this looks. Let's
God.
see. No, it's nothing terrible. It's just Sid in pants.
Well, that sounds terrible. Yeah, that's incredibly fucked up. Long tights on Sid.
Yeah, that's so strange.
That's yeah. that's pretty fucked up looking. I I don't think there's any other wrestling game news because like what other wrestling games exist at this point?
It's just that shame I can't remember the Twitter handle, but the 2D project I was talking about had like a highlight video that was out, and that looks pretty cool. Still,
Is it on the
it's nice.
YouTubes?
I don't know if it's on YouTube, but I can't even, like I said, I can't even remember the Twitter account, so I feel like an asshole.
Oh, shit.
But it looks very neat. If I think I retweeted it. Actually, I should check my Twitter. What an idiot I am. Let's see. Let's see here. There's a half naked picture of Great Sasuke. That's not it. Maybe I didn't actually retweet it. Why wouldn't I? I guess I didn't. Holy shit. But yeah, it was nice to see some new stuff of that. It was like a highlight video put together. I hope some of the other projects are still going. Like, you don't hear about them, but obviously Bastante Bueno was something that was really, really, really cool. So I hope that's still going along. Again, it just seems like a lot of those other projects are just like silent until they have something to show. Like Steve Mason, we hadn't heard from him in a long time, and then all of a sudden he showed off a video. I think it's like a powerbomb to the outside or something, and I was like, oh shit, he's still around. So it's cool that that stuff's still up and running, and some other projects. And yeah, there was that that figure company, Maniacs, is it? They have like a
Oh, yeah.
roguelike game now on Steam.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's like a deck building game, I guess.
Yeah, and Demolition's going to be in it.
Yeah, I saw that. So like I started seeing, I think it might have been on Instagram, and I just thought they were doing like another run of the figures, but that's not the case at all.
Yeah, it's
And it was
called
actually a game.
it's called Micro Titans Wrestling, and it's scheduled for Q3 2026. It's a nostalgia-fueled, roguelike deck builder themed on the golden age of professional wrestling. Prepare to step into the ring with a roster of era-defining characters and take it to the mountain with a unique card battle system. And they're all in the style of the figures that they've made. Looking at some of the screenshots here, there's like looks like a giant haystacks type called like Landslide, and a ring with another guy. There's like a WWF New Generation style entrance and ring. I can't say like roguelike deck builders is something that I have much interest in, but maybe this is something that'll pique my interest. Also, there's a picture in the description on Steam that's based on the old Royal Rumble poster of them in the street. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, so something to keep an eye on.
Coolest like pay-per-view poster ever. I was tickled when they brought that back in 01.
I have the Electric Zombie one with them all as zombies, which is neat.
Nice. So action figure related, I guess. I'll start with my pickups and then we'll. Huh?
Did you get your Carl Anderson? I saw that was like $8 on the Super 7 was $8 on Amazon the other day.
No, I know a couple of people that'll probably excite. I'm not one of them, however.
I think that's still too expensive.
It probably, yeah.
I did get the and Papa Shango that was like $20 US or something, because I was like, that's a deal. Like, I'm not.
So funny story about Amazon exclusives. I bought the Fan Takeover Randy Orton from Mattel Creations, and then lo and behold, I fucking looked on Amazon yesterday, and it was recommended to me for like $10 less than I poured on Mattel Creations.
Of course.
A little bit upset.
Well, a few months ago, I bought that Luga Ultimate Edition, and like went in Walmart the other day, and the stocks of them are selling them for $10, like Canada wide, and I guess they're doing the same thing for Steve Austin as well.
Which is crazy, because those are like
the
best figures of those two guys.
Walmart here is like kind of be nuts. Like, you can't find everything in store, but when they pop up online now, they're like $10 or more less than you would expect. They've got a listing on there for the LGNs and the NWO Muta, and they're listed as out of stock, but I keep checking every day to see if they come in. It's Walmart's just kind of nuts, and I don't know what's going on.
It sounds like a much more fun situation than we have here with our Walmarts.
Yeah.
So recently, I got the Zombie Sailor Hakushi, Ahmed Johnson, and Todd Pettengill. Hakushi and Pettengill are sold out. I'm assuming because he said he only got a small batch of Series 4 or 5. I'm assuming they'll be restocked at some point. Maybe they won't. I don't know. Hakushi looks incredible. Like, that's one of the better figures he's done. I can see the argument that Ahmed's maybe a little too thin, but I also think, like, this looks really good. If we were going more for, like, the proper this is a Hasbro, then, like, Ahmed probably would have had, like, the Sid body or, like, the Bulldog body. So yeah, probably should be a little bulkier. I have no problems with how this figure looks. Head sculpt's great. Pettengill's just a repaint of the figure I already had, but it's Todd Pettengill, so fuck it. I had to have it. I also got the Supreme Will Ospreay, and because it was restocked again on Ringside, and I was like, I'm not missing. I got the white and blue Surfer Sting. Did I tell the story last time about my odyssey of trying to just make sure Ringside didn't send me the chase on that?
No.
Okay, so I placed my order, and then I contact Ringside, and we're like, hey, I know you guys will occasionally insert a chase into an order. I am asking that you don't do that with my order. They replied to me with like, well, we can't change your order. And I'm like, I'm not asking you to change anything. I'm just saying I paid my money for the white and blue Sting. That is the version I want to receive. Please do not send me the chase. I'm probably the only person in human history that was like, don't send me the chase that was going for $200 on the secondary market. I don't want that fucking version. Yeah, they were probably like, wait, he doesn't want the. But also, I don't even know when they do the second and third production runs. Do they even do they even make more of the chases? Because that kind of devalues the one of 3,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I got that, and I got the Supreme Osprey. The Osprey figure is tremendous. It's honestly quite a bit taller than it should be, but like the jacket is incredibly detailed. Like, for a company that may be out of the AEW figure business by this time next year, they put a lot of effort into that figure. The paint apps on both pairs of like tights for the figure are ridiculous. Like, they had every chance to deliver something that was a little disappointing compared to like the full reveal we got at Comic-Con, but that would have also been the final product reveal. So yeah, I don't know why I'm saying that. But when that was first announced at Comic-Con 2024, they could have shit the bed with that. And I'd also like to say, it doesn't have the Kenny Omega torso. It's completely new, like upper body for Osprey. Great figure. One of the better AEW figures I've ever done, the height disparity aside. And I got the Amazon exclusive Ultimate Edition Randy Orton, but I got it from Mattel Creations. They're never going to top that one.
Yeah, I think I said to you, he looks like a prick, which is kind of what you want.
Yeah, like the default head, like for anybody that hasn't seen it, but has seen the figures I'm about to reference, he has the two heads from the Evolution box set, like the shit-eating grin one and the kind of, oh no, I don't know why that was included, but whatever. And he's got like the one they've been using forever, which looks like the original Randy Orton scan that they had. They just threw hair on it. And it's also one of those things like with the original Ultimate Edition Austin where they did the two new heads for him, and they threw the original head in, which is a completely different size and shape than the other two. And it's just like, what? This looks stupid. You'd never see Hasbro do this. But the shit-eating grin head is like the most perfect Randy Orton head sculpt you could ever ask for a mid-2000s Orton because he looks like an asshole.
Yeah.
The back of the box shows the figure with the upper body from the new Stone Cold Ultimate, but he doesn't have that. That figure has a completely new torso that I don't recall seeing on renders for anything else that's coming in the immediate future, at least. It's like if you want a mid 2000s Randy Orton for your collection, if you're one of the people that wants like a ruthless aggression era Randy Orton, they're not going to top that one. I mean, they could put like they could repaint that into an attire that's not the Mania 20 gear, and it would still be like my comment would still stand. Like they're not going to top it. It's the blueprint is there for a Randy Orton figure, and I don't. Maybe when they start rolling out like the new articulation scheme, they could top it just by virtue of having more like posability options. But as it stands right now, I don't really think I need another Randy Orton figure.
Well, if you really want to complete the set, you need like a travel bag and like maybe the turd from um, Mitch's TL Hopper, and you're good to go.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think you can take the turd out of the toilet on that. You'd have to basically destroy
That's a shame.
the whole thing. Yeah, I think the turd's molded into the piss and the bowl of the toilet, unfortunately.
That's
And
shitty.
yeah. So the zombie sailor Halloween thing ended up being like this Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter got shown off.
Which I
So
spoiled. Sorry about that.
yeah, it's like how the fuck did that one eBay seller in Oklahoma get that is what I want to know. Um Obviously Flower Crown Danhausen finally got put out, which I mean we've known about that figure for months, and that thing was on sale at WrestleCon. So it's probably about time.
Yeah.
Uh, that got dropped. And then the third figure, which I thought they were just going to do both of the Silence of the Lamb figures, but it was a glow in the dark, translucent green Larry the dog. And proceeds are going to Pause Chicago, which is like a nonprofit. I did see the 3 points of articulation guys on Facebook being like, well, we basically saying they want to see proof of the donations, which I guess they did with the Mitch Diesel figures too. And like, those guys are awfully smug for two guys that don't actually really do anything.
I might have another spoiler here. Trying
Okay.
to see if did Figure Collections release the black suit James Mitchell?
Yeah.
Oh, they did. Okay, because I was looking at that Toy Factory since we were talking about the Hannibal Lecter, and I saw that on there. They're also selling, by the looks of it, Latuni prototype Brandy Savage.
Huh.
4.5 inches.
Oh, so it's like the okay.
It's crazy the amount of shit they get their hands on.
Yeah, it's very strange, like how easily factory employees just get away with stealing shit.
Yeah, it sure is.
Um, I forgot that they did a Toy Biz James Mitchell. I probably should own that. That's an incredible figure.
They did a Toy Biz James Mitchell.
Yeah, I think in the very last series, he might have been a Build-A-Figure. Nope, he's a single-carded figure.
Oh yeah. I didn't realize that.
What a crazy last series. You have James Mitchell, Kurt Angle, Loki, Eric Young, and Chase fucking Stevens.
Damn, that's actually a great figure too.
Yeah. I mean, that was always the thing once they ditched the stupid antiquated action features. Like that Marvel Toys TNA line got really, really good. And it still hurts me to this day. All that stuff we saw at like Fall Toy Fair in 07, the Sting, the Angle, the Tracy Brooks Build-A-Figure. There was like a Kid Cash there, a Sean Waltman there, a bigger ring that was closer to being like a real scale version of the six-sided ring. All of this really cool shit that we would have gotten in the first half of 08, and then Marvel Toys died.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Ike Perlmutter can kiss my ass.
Who?
Is my official. Go get the history of Marvel Comics book. He's a piece of shit that was in charge until just recently. Also, he's like or was like an advisor to fucking Donald Trump.
Oh,
Not a
okay.
good guy. Yeah, complete piece of shit. Part of the reason that they didn't do anything with the X-Men for years because they didn't have the film rights. And just what an asshole.
I was we are watching a reaction to movie munchies. I think I brought them up before. These girls from Vietnam who watch like American movies and stuff that they've never seen before, and they were watching X-Men Apocalypse, and holy shit, that movie sucks.
I've not seen it. I know I've said it before on the show, but everybody that knows me knows that I love Apocalypse and told me, like, specifically, do not watch that fucking movie.
Dude, he talks so slow. It takes him like an hour to get through one sentence.
Jesus Christ.
And just like there's like no development of like any, like they've got like Storm and Psylocke and Angel, and they're just like henchmen. There's like no, they don't do anything with them. Yeah, it's really bad. That was a movie that when I saw it in the theater, I didn't like. And usually I'm pretty like, it was okay, but I was just like, this movie sucks.
Yeah, I'm glad I've never seen it. We can talk about the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection if there's nothing else significant for wrestling. Oh, actually, there is. The Mattel SummerSlam Elite Wave for next year might have already leaked.
Okay.
And it's an interesting concept because all 5 characters are from the same match, assuming this is what's actually coming down the pike. But the rumor is right now it'll be Triple H, Mankind, Steve Austin, and China with Jesse Ventura as the Build-A-Figure.
So like SummerSlam 99, right?
Yep. And I said this to Wrestling Figure News. If they're going to go this route, I want the next Survivor Series set to be themed around one team. Because my thought was like,
cool.
Do the Hulkamaniacs from '89, do Hogan, Jake, and Demolition, because they're all going to sell because it's Hogan, Jake, and Demolition. And not for nothing, that's my favorite Survivor Series team from my favorite Survivor Series. So,
yeah, my favorite was probably, I mean, they can't do it, but like Warrior, Legion of Doom, and Texas Tornado from the opening match of Survivor Series 90.
Yeah, you know what? They could do the perfect team from that show.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Because they have all 4 of those guys, because all 3 members of Demolition are back.
What was the babyface team at the end? It was Hogan, Warrior, and Tito, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. I was just trying to remember who it was.
And they get Tito the fuck out of there pretty quick.
Yeah, poor Tito. Well, at least he made it to the end. That was cool.
And then Hogan shits on Power and Glory's finish because, you know.
I was watching the No Holds Barred cage match the other day. It was fun.
Yeah, that's not a horrible match.
It's just goofy.
Super Tape 1 on the WWE Vault page. That's one of my favorite tapes. It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you're watching.
Well, that's Volume 2, which is also on the Vault.
Yeah, you're watching Tiny Lister just like no selling and then trying to sell and stuff. It's just goofy. It's just like pure like entertainment.
Yeah, there's a lot of really offensive matches in the history of wrestling. That's not one of them.
No, absolutely not.
And so, speaking of things that have been deemed offensive but really aren't, well, they're contained within this thing. So, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection came out and was a massive fucking shit show on seemingly every platform but Steam. But Steam was not exempt because the online was broken, but it's apparently a little tiny bit better now. Apparently, the PlayStation 5 is still dealing with massive input lag. Xbox is dealing with input lag as well. Apparently, the Switch versions are. Steam got it the least bad out of all of them, which is the version I have.
Me too.
I don't know if this is really going to be a review so much as just me giving my thoughts. Everything is presented super well. The documentary stuff is cool. The behind the scenes stuff is really cool. I like the default menu music. Like, I saw people shitting on that on a couple different places. So before I get to my thoughts on this, there's like a whole YouTube rabbit hole I didn't know existed of Mortal Kombat fans that just hate Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah.
Like, doing multiple videos a day about this when like this isn't the biggest disaster this franchise has seen on launch day, buddy. I was there for Mortal Kombat 1.
I no,
Like
that's
I
something I was kind of shocked because I bought the Steam version, and I'm someone that probably had um no reason to buy it new like when at launch because I'm not like an online person. I don't like really playing online. So I was just like playing all these games offline, and then I watched the documentary, and I think the documentary is great. It should be noted though that the documentary is highly based on the first game. And they talk about the second
yeah,
and third, but like it's really coming like how they came up with Mortal Kombat, behind the scenes of that, and it's super interesting. There's also some reused footage, I think, from Deadly Alliance. I think had a documentary in it as well, which was also
yep.
really good. And there's some reused stuff from there, but yeah, it's really well put together. And just some talking about walking into Williams for like the first time and the way it's set up and everything. It just sounds like what an era of gaming, you know?
Oh,
Um,
also, real quick, as a companion piece, the Insert Coin documentary, which was done by Josh Sui from Midway. I think that's his name. Yes, it is, because he's the guy from Robomoto. That's free on YouTube now, I think. So I would
okay.
absolutely recommend watching that. I
I
have the
think Jeff
Blu-ray.
Gerstmann's in that too. He's like, he's the first person you see on the documentary, and I was like, it's funny because it's set up the exact same way as his podcast, and I was like, oh shit, okay.
And he's wearing a
Um,
Mystery Wrestling t-shirt.
yeah, he. I think he was one of the streams they did. He was like commentating or like a part of it, so that was cool. Um, but yeah, like I said, 2 and 3 are like covered a bit, and the 3D games are basically just there's just like a paragraph, basically for the 3D games. But like I really enjoyed the documentary, and like there's a lot of like click down and you get more pictures or like little videos and stuff, and as you said, behind the scenes, really neat stuff. And I think all the games, like the menus, as you said and stuff, is like the music is nice, and you can add the tracks from the old games, and the presentation overall is like really nicely put together. And the way you can like enable cheats and stuff for games, and just like it's a really nice package. And I was like coming out, I was like, wow, this is excellent. And I saw some of the reviews from like the media outlets and stuff, and it was all pretty positive. And like the next day, I'm reading on Twitter like this is a piece of shit, and I was like, what? What's happening? And then like I started reading about like the problems with like the PlayStation and stuff, and it just goes on and on and on and wells up. And like then I saw one guy was saying like, oh, why the shrine statues in the main menu is so like low res or something. And it's like, is that how far we're going? Because like the background image isn't clear enough for you. Like, does that really matter? Like, of all the things to
Like, there's
complain
much
about,
bigger problems here.
yeah, yeah. Like, if you're talking about online play and lag and all this, like, that's legitimate concerns. The background image is not. And then, like, this
Claiming
is
it's AI, and then Digital Eclipse had to come out and be like, "There's no generative AI use here."
exactly, yeah. I guess there's some hidden modes that haven't been revealed yet, and they were saying that some of them look like AI images, but they've since denied that. Um, But there was like someone in the comments on one video of Twitter, and he's like, "This is a link to my video," and it was like everyone who was saying positive things about this are shills, and I was like, I haven't played online, and I enjoyed the documentary, and I'm pretty happy with it. And I posted like the GIF of Lenny from The Simpsons giving a thumbs up, and he just liked it because like, what are you gonna say? You're gonna call me a shill? Like, and then there was like the one that was like talking about racism in the Mortal Kombat community. And if that's a thing, then that's definitely something that should be, talked about. But the video itself made it look like it was racism from the game or like
The
racism
collection.
from, yeah, from Digital Eclipse. And it's like, what? Like, oh, no, like it's this is like clickbait, and it's like this is awful. It's like, it was insane, and like just like I don't know, people like taking legitimate concerns and like just going off the wall and like embarrassingly so. But that's also like what the video game community is these days, right? Like I'm just surprised like if there was like one pixel off of like Melina's outfit, it'd been like, oh, it's woke and they're censoring it and all this shit. And it's a good thing we didn't get any of that because holy shit, we don't need that as well. But
No.
I guess it also didn't help too that the book that came out just before the
Yeah. Yeah,
game
that was a fucking
had a lot of shitty AI images in it. So and that was really disappointing. But yeah, it's been a mess. But you're right, like Mortal Kombat fans do not seem to enjoy Mortal Kombat. At least like the current fan base. I feel like the more like original fans are just like, hey, this is cool. But like the current fans are like, this is the worst shit ever.
And to be clear, I understand if you're like a tournament player that wants to like dig into like
Absolutely.
WaveNet UMK3 and see what's different. You
Yeah.
can't really do that on the PlayStation even now because there's, I think as of the last patch, it's still like 6 frames of input lag, so like a tenth of a second, which is ridiculous. But I also saw stuff like they need to fix the input lag in Mortal Kombat on the Super NES. Do me a favor, grab SNES 9X, grab the ROM for Mortal Kombat 1, and tell me if they need to patch the input lag in a fucking 32-year-old game. Like some of the stuff that's getting brought up is like, this is awful. They need to patch this. Like, no, this is just how the shit was. This is game preservation. Like, warts and all.
Yeah.
Um,
The one thing that I kind of was disappointed in was that when they announced that they were able to get Mortal Kombat 4 into it, it was like, oh, that's really impressive because, you know, like emulation for that game's always been really bad. But it turns out that the glitches in that game are specifically from MAME. So it looks like they just took the MAME version and put that in the game. Which I mean, it's still cool that it's there. I just wish that they were
they're
able
claiming
to.
there's no MAME code being used. I saw that.
That's interesting because I've seen a lot of people claim that that's specifically a meme issue that's popping up.
Like being able to run through enemies, Scorpion having like the red gimmick on his gear. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
yeah. I thought it was
interesting.
interesting as well. They've patched like some stuff with MK4, which is nice. So I'll say this: if you're playing offline on Steam, you're gonna have probably the best experience currently. I've had minimal issues playing. I'm one of the worst dial-a-combo players you will ever meet in your life. I beat Mortal Kombat 3, the arcade version, yesterday with Sub-Zero, basically just doing the longest combo string he had.
Dude, I'm awful at. I feel like I'm just too slow for it. Like I felt like that way when I was a kid, but now that I'm older and like my reflexes are even worse, it's just like I can't pull shit off. But I appreciate that they have like the combos listed on the side of the screen and stuff. You can turn those on.
Which those weren't there on day one. That needs to be noted. They had to patch in the combo lists.
Yeah, and it's stuff like the one button fatalities and the fatality trainer. Like I really appreciate like all the stuff that they've done to make it like a better experience for less skillful players. Let's put it that way.
Which also goes to a point I wanted to make. A whole new generation got to figure out about the Mortal Kombat 2 arcade difficulty
Yeah.
because that's one of the things I keep seeing everybody want
Ooh.
patched is how brutal that game's arcade AI is, and it's still there. If you for whatever
If
reason have fond memories of how bullshit that game is to beat, it's fucking it's still there.
I had like some of those games sit on easy and it did not feel easy. I was like, is there something wrong? Like, is it broken? Like, I don't know if it is or if it's just like the games are too fucking hard now.
It's the way Mortal Kombat 2 is like hard coded with like button read like bullshit.
Yeah,
Like to be completely honest, I don't know how possible that's going to be to patch without like actively reworking a lot of things about the game,
true. Yeah.
which is a little unfortunate. But speaking of hard games, I finally got to play through Mortal Kombat Mythologies, which is a game that I rented like one time as a kid and never touched again because the conventional wisdom was always this is one of the worst games of all time, and I beat the whole fucking thing. Made way less use of the rewind feature than I thought I was going to. Save states, I'm not going to lie, I did make pretty liberal use of those just because there's some real NES level bullshit in that game. Like You grab a key, door opens, water floods in, door at the other end of the hallway closes rapidly. You have no way of fucking knowing that without learning it the hard way. So that stuff kind of just is what it is. Like we were still getting in the games that were staying 2D. We were still getting some of that good old like 8 and 16-bit bullshit. So I'm not going to say that the game's not hard. I'm not going to say it doesn't have some really dickish like game design aspects. But what I'm here to tell you is that anybody that tells you Mortal Kombat Mythologies is like a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10 or it's the worst Mortal Kombat game ever made, they're full of fucking shit. That game is actually good. It's like a solid 7.5 out of 10. And I think part of the in the reception, because we talked about this before we went on air, and I was talking with Ray about this yesterday. Mortal Kombat's popularity was in a downturn at that time, to be polite, and also they ventured out of the genre. And we were talking about like, WWF Betrayal before we started recording. People have this weird thing where if you branch out from the genre that you've established yourself in, it's like automatically a bad thing. That game is no worse than every other like 7 out of 10, like still hanging on to 2D game on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, people by design have an issue with change, right? Like it looks like Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat was never an adventure game like that. So when you add that aspect, people are like, what have you done? I went through something similar when I saw like Super Mario 64 for the first time. I was like, this isn't Mario. Mario doesn't look like this. It's a side scroller. This isn't Mario. So people always have that problem with something that when you change something that's established. And as you said, it was in a downturn, so obviously that didn't help it as well. I remember the first time I saw it, I walked into Mega Play, which is a video game store here, and they had it on the TV, and I just remember thinking it looked really cool. But I think the guy that was playing it at the time that worked there didn't like it. I don't know if I ever rented it. I feel like I maybe rented it once and couldn't get past the first level. So that was the only time I had really played it, but I'd read about it and saw like the cutscenes and stuff over the years, and I think I brought up Meg Minardi's Blade Club playthrough on Giant Bomb's YouTube channel is hilarious, and watched him play that whole game, and then eventually go back and like speed run it too, which was crazy to see, But it's definitely a game that difficult. It's not something that I don't know I'd spend a lot of time with. Like I can, it's part of the collection, so I'm sure I'll play it at some point. But I feel like I would just get too frustrated with it from what I've seen. But I appreciate that it's there. I mean, I appreciate that all these games are there, good or bad, because like they should be, right? You should have much of a complete collection as you can. Like even having like the Game Boy games and stuff is like wild, and I'm super happy that they're able to put it on there.
I was really happy to play Deadly Alliance and Tournament Edition again. I loved those games as a kid. And then they're a really good approximation of the fucking PS2 game. Like they're way better than they have any right to be. And I thought that as a kid too. Like it was amazing how good Deadly Alliance. Like it was one of the few Game Boy Advance games that felt like a properly shrunk down version of what I had on the GameCube.
I don't know if I liked them on the GameCube Advance, but just seeing them was like, this feels like something that shouldn't exist. And the fact that it does is kind of crazy.
Shout outs to Mode 7, because it was working overtime on that shit.
Yeah, it's like, how the fuck did they do this? Yeah, that's I was playing what was it? I was playing Deception on the PSP version on the Steam Deck, which is like Unchained, I think.
Yep.
And God, this is something that I brought up at the time when we talked about MK1. It's just like the lack of special features in that game. I mean, we talked about it previously, like Deadly Alliance having like that documentary, and Deception having like chess combat and
puzzle combat, the character cards.
Yeah. And like I think Armageddon had the kart racing, right? So it's like, what happened? Where did all that stuff go? Like even like Mortal Kombat 11 having the giant crypt and like the Shang Tsung's island was like really interesting stuff. And one having none of that, it's just like that was one thing that really turned me against that game. And I wish they would go back to that, because even like opening the crypt in like the Game Boy edition, it's like, oh yeah, you can log a whole bunch of shit in here. Isn't that cool? And I miss that stuff.
Should also be noted, Deception and Armageddon both have like dedicated story modes too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was wild too because again, taking Mortal Kombat and turning it into like this whole action adventure mode is just in some ways those teams are they really were thinking outside the box. And I mean they changed fighting games in a lot of different ways, and doing like stuff like that was just like you look back at it now and it's like holy crap, these dudes were like really innovative and doing some wild shit.
Speaking of wild shit, that brings me to the other game that conventional wisdom would tell you is god awful that's in this collection. And I'm talking about Mortal Kombat Special Forces, which I had never played a second of in my life until yesterday. And I was expecting awful controls. I was expecting shitty looking graphics. I was expecting like bad frame rate. In some of the environments and like the first couple of levels don't look, and that's like another thing. Like Mythologies is just a fun game to look at. Very interesting looking stages. The digitized sprites are cool. Getting like digitized sprite versions of like Fujin and Quan Chi is really cool. Serena and Shinnok as well, even though Shinnok's like different than he is in Mortal Kombat 4. And like the new like Sub-Zero doesn't have his default stance from the previous games, and all the animations are new. That stuff's all really cool. So I think Mythologies is a more interesting game to look at than Special Forces. But Special Forces, like the Jax model is really funny. I like the way he looks. Um, the gameplay's not bad, especially once you start getting access to like combos and stuff. The first level boss was I don't understand why people think those boss fights are difficult, because I basically just spammed the machine gun, ran up, did the same combo like 4 times, and he was dead.
Yeah,
Like I'm not
I've
like
never
an expert at the game.
I've never played it myself. It's just one of those games that you heard was terrible and like avoided. Did you see the old title screen and the screenshot they had of Sonya as a playable character?
Yeah, and that's like a completely different. Like there's footage of it because like I guess the prototype is out there. That's like a completely different game too.
I wonder why they didn't include any of that. Would they legally been able to like include a build of that version in the game?
I think it might be a thing if they didn't have access on like the Warner Brothers end, because
Yeah,
that's why some
the
of the like console versions are missing, like UMK3 on Genesis.
the other thing that got me is that they show the title screen of like the pitch to Jean Claude Van Damme for the original Mortal Kombat, but like they don't show anything. And it looks like a title screen of that era. It doesn't look like it's remade or anything. It looks like the start of the video, and I was really curious to see what that footage would look like, because they said like they spliced in they used like footage from like Bloodsport. So I'd have really been curious to see what that looked like about back then.
Yeah, that would have been neat.
Yeah.
On note of Special Forces, though, to kind of wrap up my thoughts on that, much like Mythologies, the scores don't really make any sense to me, because like there's a number of like 3D brawlers on the PlayStation that look and feel worse to play than that game.
Hmm.
I'm not here to argue Special Forces is a great game, but like it's like a solid 6 out of 10. It's a pretty standard, unremarkable action game on the PS1. And that's kind of the same thing with Mythologies. It's like a standard action game with a wonky control scheme. And honestly, if you hate the control scheme in that game, I'd love to hear your thoughts on like X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. Because other than
Yeah.
having a dedicated turnaround, it's doing the same fucking thing. Like you have to do fighting game inputs for everything. And I said it to you before we started recording. Like, it's wild to me that those games are basically just standard for the era action games, and they're like hated. And then Shaolin Monks comes out, and that's a very standard like 2005 action game. It has a lot of just cheesy fucking bullshit in it too. The reptile snake before the reptile boss fight is like
Mm.
one of the most anger inducing things I've ever experienced in a video game. And when I was playing through the game a couple of months ago and I got to Reptile's Lair, I was like, yep, this is probably where I'm stopping because I'm 30 fucking 4 now and I don't need to have a heart attack. Um, I it's so weird that that game is loved, but it also, like we were talking before we started recording, it came out during a time period where like Mortal Kombat's popularity had rebounded a little bit. It wasn't seen as like, oh god, they're still doing a 2D game instead of giving us a 3D fighter like Tekken. And then when Special Forces came out, it's like they haven't dropped a new fighting game in like years, except for Gold on the Dreamcast, which is just the last game they made updated. Oh no.
I think too, like the production of Shaolin Monks is obviously superior to special forces, and another aspect is that the being able to play it with a friend. I think that was a
lot helped.
big,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
It obviously also had a much bigger budget than Special Forces
Yeah,
for sure. Mythologies probably didn't have a huge budget either.
and story wise too, that era of like MK2, MK3, I think, you know, even then hit like a nostalgia factor for people. So that's another case for Shaolin Monks.
It should be noted people were buying the Midway Arcade Treasures 2 collection
Yeah,
specifically because it had Mortal Kombat 2 on it. So,
yeah,
and that's like
exactly.
another thing. I don't know where in the timeline Special Forces actually falls. I know that Mythologies is supposed to take place like right before Mortal Kombat 1. And, you know, how fond were the feelings about Mortal Kombat 1 in 1997?
Yeah, I don't know special forces either. I don't even know if it's brought up in the story of where it falls between the games.
Yeah, me either. It's a weird one, but also like there's like the TV filters and those are cool. I turned
The
those off in
default.
full screen. Huh?
Yeah, the default, and I don't like that because I'm not a fan of like the TV filters either. And every time I'd load up a game, it was set on as default, and I was like, ah, shit. It's just
Apparently,
annoying.
when you load up an online match, that shit is on every single time. You have to turn it off,
Ah, gross.
which would drive me up the wall. From my perspective, I've gotten my money's worth out of it, but I'm also only playing offline, and I'm also playing on the version that the consensus is like this is the best performing version.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to play on Steam, I I'd honestly just recommend waiting until it's patched. They're showing like a great commitment to like making sure this can get fixed. Unfortunately, the physical versions that come out in December are all locked in as being the day one version of the game. Meaning, in a crazy world where like all the online systems go down, if you have that, you have the day one PS5 version with like, I think it was like, I think the lag is like 10 frames per second and not 9 or 6 or whatever it's at now. So yeah, not great.
Yeah,
And I
that's
wish Mortal Kombat didn't get the boots put to it whenever anything happens. Like the action figures, I wish Jada and Storm could make those. That art book, I wish it was done by people that gave a fuck about actually preserving rather what this stuff looked like. In the Legacy Collection, I wish it launched better, but there's also been the thought out there that this game was supposed to tie into the release of the movie, which got delayed.
Mhm.
And the rumor is Warner Brothers told them no. We want the game out in October, and we want the physical versions out for the holidays, and that's why we're in the spot we're in.
for something that is such a big franchise. It does get the boots put to it a lot. Like you can consider like the HD collection remake that was using physical actors again. Like we've seen the behind the scenes pictures. The fact that something like that got cancelled is absolutely wild. Like they got that far and it was never made. Like that's just blows my mind. That seemed like easy money. And stuff like that. There's never been like a Shaolin Monks 2. Um, I don't know. Mortal Kombat's a weird franchise. It seems like every time I don't know. I was gonna say every time there's a hit, there's a negative, but it's not even that really. It's just like there always seems to be some sort of negative around it some way. It sucks.
Yeah, I it's very clear Warner Brothers sees it as like a cash cow, but they don't. It's like everything else they have. They don't necessarily give a shit if it's high quality. They give a shit if it makes them money. And
Yeah, but like I said too, though, there's like situations where they're leaving money on the table. It seems like an easy
yeah,
win. It's just like they don't know. They don't have a. They don't know how to take advantage of it. It's like they do the most basic things. It's like obviously you're gonna make a movie on it, but like there's so much more you could do. The animation was a start. Like that's something different that you could do. But like as you said, like they shouldn't be reduced to just McFarlane. There's like other brands that you could work with, and there's other games that you can do. There's so much more that you could do with this universe. Why aren't you doing comic books when you work with DC or when it's the same company essentially? Why isn't there new comics? It doesn't make sense.
in the last comics they had from like Mortal Kombat X time, like those weren't bad. They weren't
Why do
like amazing.
why are you putting like Sub Zero isn't DC KO, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's gonna be in like the epilogue where it's like the side story. My
He's in the
understanding is like
prelims.
yeah, my understanding is like all of the guest characters are in like a side story, not the main like tournament.
He's like a stand-in in case someone gets injured. It's like UFC one.
Yeah, like how fucking what was this Steve Jenham that won UFC
Yeah,
3?
he won based on like was it 2 fights or one fight?
Yeah, he stepped in the finals because Shamrock bows out of the tournament because Hoist Gracie bows out of the tournament.
God, I
And
I love those. I love those early UFCs.
Harold Howard's in the finals of that one. Go look at that guy's Wikipedia. That guy sounds like a hoot. Not in a particularly good way, but in a you read that guy's Wikipedia and his like legal issues, and I'm like shocked he's not a fucking pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Crashes
What
his
is it?
truck into a casino after assaulting family members with a hammer. You mean to tell me this guy didn't do a fucking loop for anybody at any point?
Yeah, that's wild. What was the saying? We have the saying around here. If you're gonna come on,
If you're
come
coming
on,
on, come on.
come on. Yeah, yeah.
There was allegedly a Harold Howard Twitter where I guess people had tweeted him. He looked like Waylon Mercy and he acknowledged it.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, man! So playing the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection led me down a strange rabbit hole of watching Twisted Metal videos on YouTube because like those two series are like forever kind of like intertwined in my mind because like I don't know why honestly because I didn't play Twisted Metal until 97 when we got a PlayStation and obviously I'd played Mortal Kombat before that but like to me like Twisted Metal 1 and Mortal Kombat 3 are both like quintessential mid 90s games when you look at like the tone and the art style and just kind of the vibe.
Yeah. It's
So if
sort
I'm
of like
thinking about mid 90s Mortal Kombat, I'm thinking about mid 90s Twisted Metal.
do you think of like Spawn as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff that's just like quintessentially 90s like I think about that stuff and I think about like 97 Nitro and Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And like the second to last season of like the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls like it's all the stuff that kind of runs together in my brain like the ending of the X-Men cartoons in there too and I wish I feel like I've said this on each of the last like 9 episodes at this point. I wish Sony gave a fuck about Twisted Metal.
Yeah, I mean it's super weird when you've got a TV show that's running. I don't know if it's been renewed for a third season, but I mean it's had 2 seasons. Um, it just seems wild to have that and not have something to go with it. And there's a fan base that seems to be waiting for something. So why not? I don't get it. It's another case of like another studio that doesn't seem to know what to do with their properties.
Yeah, and like I know that like 1, 2, 3, and 4 are just available on the PlayStation Store now. I think I'd be happier if they just did a fucking collection of those games so that like they're all in one place for one price and they're, optimized. Because apparently the
Yeah.
PS2 Classics version of Twisted Metal Black does not, like, famously it had issues on the PS3. I have no clue about it on the 4 and 5. I'm pretty sure it's on there.
I'm sure there's like a lot of special features they could put behind that too, with like the live action vignettes and stuff like that.
That
Um,
were in extra Head On Extra Twisted edition. They did like a 20-minute documentary that was in that
there
too.
you go. Yeah, there's why not do another collection of that makes complete sense.
And you could have both the PSP and the PS2 version of Head On because the PS2 Head On had the lost levels from the canceled Twisted Metal Black sequel, and like I think it even had like the some of the remnants of like the Sweet Tooth free roaming mode that was going to be in the canceled Twisted Metal Black sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what would justify the whole collection? Port Twisted Metal 2012 for fuck's sake. Why are there so many games that were like PS3 exclusive that are just like imprisoned on that console, like fucking Metal Gear Solid 4?
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know about the PS4 specifically. It's or PS3?
Yeah,
PS3. Yeah, sorry. Well, yeah, Solid 4, PS3. Yeah, that console specifically is like one that's like seems hard for them to tap into for whatever reason.
I think it's like the actual architecture of the console. It's
Ugh,
why if something had a multi-platform port during that era, like 99.9% of the time it was better on 360.
yeah, true.
Like they got in their bag when they just like the PS3 is a powerhouse, and you look at like the first party games that really made use of it, and it's like fucking look at this shit. But nobody else could really tap into it. And they figured it out with the PS4 and 5 because the architecture is much more simple and it makes for easier ports to other consoles and from other consoles.
You know what they should do is that they should uh do that Mortal Kombat HD thing again, but digitalize actors from the movie, like Street Fighter, the movie, the game, the movie, the game. That would be cool.
That probably it doesn't make sense to me that they didn't try that in like 1996.
Yeah, yeah. We had to wait like what Mortal Kombat 11 before we got like Christopher Lambert and Lyndon Ashby and
Lyndon Ashby.
Bridget Wilson in the game, which is wild.
And we also had Kerry Hiroyuki Tagawa in that game just like
Yep,
by default.
which was
That
awesome.
popped me. Yeah. I was like, to me, like nobody else in live action is ever going to portray Shang Tsung in a way that I feel is satisfying because he's so fucking good in that movie.
Yeah, the dude they got now, I can't remember his name, but he's like nowhere near as charismatic or used to the same effect. And it's funny in MK1, like they removed him from the game, Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, but like it's obviously still based on him. Like even the voice actor sounds like him.
Yeah. I saw somebody point out like they did that whole timeline reboot and like nothing really changes. The story kind of basically just stays the same. And
Pretty much.
aside from like gender swapping the Lin Kuei robots and like Bihan and Kuai Liang are Scorpion and Sub Zero, or I'm sorry, Sub Zero and Scorpion, shit doesn't really change. Like Raiden is basically in the Liu Kang spot and Liu Kang's in the Raiden spot, but they don't take any new swings with any of the story decisions except the stuff with Havoc, which you could have probably built an entire game around that, but they didn't fucking want to.
I find it interesting too from like design standpoint. Like they give Shao Kahn those stupid big horns for whatever reason. And like if you look at the new movie, it's obviously based off the previous universe, the old designs. It's just interesting that where the movie takes its inspiration seems to be from the past rather than the present. I think that's other than the Baraka stuff, because the director did say like the more recent games inspired the like Tarkatan village and stuff like that.
I'm curious to see what that movie is going to be like. I
I
hope it's
think it's
good.
going to be entertaining.
I just not having the fucking writer from the first, like the 2021 movie on is a huge step forward because that guy's a dumbass. If I'm just
Wasn't he
being
signed up
honest,
for like
like,
a whole bunch of video game movies?
yeah, remember he was either attempting to be tied to or was tied to a fucking Street Fighter.
Yeah, I think he was like the new Skip Woods, who was like I think that was his name. It was a guy that was like came out from nowhere and was just like attached to all these weird movies. And but the writer from the first movie, I haven't heard his name since. So
Yeah, hopefully he's in hiding because that movie wasn't good. Um,
I'm not expecting it to be good, but I'm very curious about the Street Fighter movie, how that's gonna turn out. If nothing else, than just design wise, because I've seen some stuff like Cody has the hair and the outfit, and I mean, um, they all seem to have like we saw like the bison statue. I sent you a picture of that, and that seemed very very close to the game. And so and it apparently takes place in 1993 or two, I think 93. So if nothing else, and I'm curious to see just like design wise. I mean, also like 50 Cent has the Balrog hair, which was wild to see. So I don't know. I'm curious. Like I said, I'm not expecting it to be good, but I'm just curious.
I just got recommended a post on Instagram from August where somebody's calling out, and I thought it was a new post, and I was like, "Buddy,
Calling out
it is
who?
probably time to wrap it up." Power Town.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Their pre-order status page was updated on March 5th, so it hasn't been
Oh
updated
wow.
in 8 months. Yeah,
I
if you're listening to this and you gave them money, get that shit back.
I don't know how they can keep talking.
Like,
Like it's
holy shit.
it's over. You know, it's done.
And speaking of things that are done, we now know who Hiroshi Tanahashi's opponent is for the Tokyo
Yeah.
Dome. And probably the most obvious answer all along, especially once they did the backstage segment with Geto. And I saw people in the comments on Instagram like, "Oh, it's going to be Nakamura." And it's like, who the fuck did Geto manage that has like a series of like famous, like well loved, era defining matches with Tanahashi? Because it ain't Nakamura. There
Yeah,
was like
I
one fucking option for that realistically. There was no way the Fed was going to let him do it. Would have been cool.
yeah, if they were very kind, it would have been something that would have but they're not very kind. But also like it was pointed out to me like a few weeks ago like um the show was in Okada's hometown. It's Okada's birthday. He shares a birthday with me. So I was like, well, now it's just obvious. You know, it's obviously going to be Okada. And I thought it was interesting the reaction he got because you know he's a guy that ever since he signed with AEW hasn't appeared in New Japan at all. I think he said he would never wrestle in New Japan again or something like that. So he came out in his hometown and there's like there's in the crowd they're like jumping up and down and stuff and got a huge pop. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the clip, it's on Instagram. I'm sure it's all over Twitter. Tanahashi does his "I love you" call at the end to end the show, and then you hear the coin drop, and the crowd immediately buzzes like, "Now hold on a fucking minute!" And they don't pan to the entrance, so when he finally steps out, you see people jump to their feet, and they're like, "Oh my fucking god, it's him!" And then you see Okada, and he comes off like the biggest star in the world, almost like they probably should have fucking kept him around. I
Yeah,
understand economic reasons and everything, but like, Jesus Christ, that reaction was crazy.
there's a woman in the front row in like a white shirt who you see just like losing her shit as soon as like they show the crowd.
And I don't know how much Tanahashi's got left. I'm assuming he's gonna fucking really go for it.
Yeah.
There's also no chance anything else headlines that show, right? Like, all due respect to Takeshita and Tsuji, that's a big match. That would be like putting
No.
Kaito and Okada on after the fucking Muto retirement match. Like, they've already seen what they paid for.
No, I mean, for a few reasons. Obviously, Tanahashi's retirement, also Okada's first match in New Japan since what was it, like August
The
2024 or
No,
April?
he was in AEW by that point. He doesn't he leave in like February of 24?
Sounds about
Because he
right. Yeah.
shows up
So
in AEW at the beginning of March.
obviously it's been a while. So it's like his first match back, and like I said, Tanahashi's retirement. So it's a much bigger deal than Takeshita and Tsuji.
And like, it goes back to something I've said for years when people talk about like the Bushi Road New Japan thing. It, to be honest, it was never Tanahashi. It was always Okada. That reaction proves it. They're they were sitting at what, like 31,547 for that show or something. I might be
Mm-hmm.
off on the exact number, but it's somewhere around there. I'm going to be shocked come January 4th when they report the attendance if it's less than 40,000. That is the match.
Yeah, it should be a wild show. And I actually resubscribed to New Japan World, but I haven't watched anything except for classic stuff. So I don't think I'll be tuning into that live, but hopefully I'll get to see
I
it.
will be.
I'd like to. It's just that I don't know. Like my sleep's fucked up anyway, so maybe in case I'll just be awake. But if not, then it'd be something that I'd definitely watch like as soon as I wake up.
I mean, we got
Um,
what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got like 9 weekends, bud. You can you can hammer that sleep pattern out.
Dude, my sleep is so strange. Like like I said, it's a possibility that I'll already be awake. I don't know. My sleep is just, I can't explain it. Like I'll end up like trying to sleep at night and like waking up multiple times and like sleeping all day on the couch. And sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it's all fucked up. But yeah, it's
I have my
gonna
heart
be
set on recording a podcast like 3 hours after that show's over. So let's hope.
we'll see. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be it should be fun. It's kind of been a wild week for the Bushy Road promotions. Did you hear about the girl that came out during the Stardom show?
I didn't, but I do want to talk about Takeshita versus Goto real quick because
Go
I did
ahead.
see
Yep.
that match. I like Konosuke Takeshita a lot in AEW.
Yes.
The match against Goto was not especially exciting. Like, towards the end, it had like the typical New Japan problem of like they went 24 minutes. The first like kind of 15 didn't really fucking matter. It was just a bunch of
Right.
like pointless limb work. But like, he's attacking Goto's arm and there's no like viciousness or intensity, and he is decidedly the heel in the match. And it's like, in AEW, he'd be working much more like a heel. He'd be much more vicious. Like, he would use his size more. And he doesn't really do that in New Japan. And it kind of makes me not enjoy watching him in New Japan.
Mm.
But like, the finishing stretch was good, I guess. And then the finish just kind of happened. It felt really flat. And it just, when it was over, I was like, yeah, fucking the bell should ring. Tsuji should hit the Gene Blast 1, 2, 3, and let's just get where we're fucking going. I
Yeah.
like him a lot more in AEW. He's a lot more exciting to watch. In New Japan, it's just like kind of half-hearted, flaccid. I don't even know, like, because I didn't watch a ton of him in DDT, so I don't know if that's just always been him, but like his matches are like much more dynamic in AEW. And it's so fucking weird that as IWGP champion, he's just kind of, he's like inoffensive. Like, he's not like bad. It's just like, I watched Hiroki Goto's title reign earlier this year, and that man said, "Fuck Zack Sabre Jr. We're about to have some good IWGP title matches for a change." And then the belt went back to Zack, and it's just we're kind of back to middling with the titles. And my hope for that Tokyo Dome show, they plant the flag of like this is the new era of New Japan, and we're gonna wash away all of the stuff from the last few years.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be a rebuilding phase, and I think with like Alex Wolf too debuting on the show, obviously that's a big deal, and that's someone that you want to stand next to your flag as well.
I read an interview with
So,
Aaron Wolf where he talked about Shibata
Wolf,
and
yeah,
Ishii
sorry,
being
yeah.
like the thing that made him a fan. I'm like, please just open that match with Evil by running to the middle of the ring and throwing forearms. Just please do it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I hope he's fun to watch.
Yeah. If he sucks, I'm gonna be really sad.
Yeah,
Oh, and also, I don't know if we noted this last time, but the show is not being broadcast live on Big TV Asahi. It's being broadcast at like 10 p.m., which is still prime time, but not live.
I saw that. Uh, Saya Kamatani's like, you better not fuck up, and you better air my match. She's saying that to like TV Asahi, and because she's being honest against Shuri for that show. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, the
I mean,
card
the
so far
TV
sounds
version
fun.
doesn't matter to us because, like, New
Yeah, yeah,
Japan
yeah.
World, but if I'm being completely honest, that TV version is likely going to be the Aaron Wolf match, the heavyweight title match, and the Tanahashi match because it's, I think, a 2 hour block.
Probably, yeah.
So if I had to guess, unless like Aaron Wolf like fucking dusts Evil in like 3 minutes or something,
Probably should.
well, yeah. In a just society,
They should
the
like.
bell would
It should
ring
be
and Evil would get.
you know what it should be? It should be Lex Luger versus Hogan from the Nitro when he won the title.
Yeah, like the House of Torture jumping up and fucking Aaron Wolf
It's
just
like,
judo throwing everybody. Yeah.
you know they're going to, obviously. So
I hate that fucking stable has basically killed Ren Narita's career. It's really funny. Like the Reiwa Three Musketeers, they've killed off Umino, which is fine. He sucks. And they've killed off Ren Narita, which sucks because he's the closest thing to a traditional New Japan main eventer they kind of had. But like they have Aaron Wolf, who, if he's any good, could be a top guy. Yuto Ice, I've heard is good. I do remember before he went on excursion, people seemed to like him a lot. People really like Umura. I
who's
haven't
that?
seen him in a minute.
Who's that big bodybuilding freelance dude they had on a show recently, or like a few shows, I think.
I don't know.
There's some like I think he had worked with DDT previously, but I think he's working like a Just Tap Out show. Um, yeah, it's like a big bodybuilder, and he cut a backstage promo which was translated, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like a really good promo, and I was like, it came back to what I said about like looking at independent talent and like local talent, being like, sign these people, and that was the guy I was like, yeah, sign this dude, he's got it, I'm behind him already.
I also saw that they put the GHC title on Inamura, which
Yeah,
whatever, man. It's Noah. Who gives a fuck?
Mr. Smack Daddy, and then they put the tag titles on those two NXT
Two
dudes that
guys
look like
from, yeah.
the dudes that dress like Public Enemy. Yeah,
And I guess they're defending them against Marufuji and Keno.
sure.
And I guess Kaito Kiyomiya is the first challenger for Inamura, so like we're gonna feed Kaito to Inamura now?
I guess.
What the
Um,
fuck are we doing? Anyway,
I,
Stardom.
oh well, I was just gonna say like the funniest thing coming out of Noah was Marufuji taking the CM Punk and Gioso fuck up neck break and turning it into a float over DDT or whatever it was. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did, and I also saw the thing where like I guess Steiner Jr. fucked something up, and it was like kind of obvious that Punk didn't get annoyed at him for it. And
Hmm.
I saw people were saying shit about well, why did Punk not get that mad at Steiner? And my friend Kara was like, understandably, Steiner Jr. has been wrestling that long. Jey Uso's been wrestling for 16 fucking years.
Also, I don't think I'd want to make a Steiner mad.
No. And Jey Uso is incredibly funny. I've quoted that shit at the WrestleMania press conference where he's just blasted. I quote that
Yeah.
14 times a week. Yeet. But Jesus Christ, man, he sucks.
Yeah, he's real bad. Also, that match had
His brother's worse too.
That match had Punk doing the worst spear I've ever seen.
Well, that's probably what he deserves.
Yeah, it was
looking like a complete schlub in the Fed. Yeah,
but
and I can't watch that product. I'll go on the Vault page and they'll make ad revenue off of me watching shit, I guess. But I'm not watching current Fed programming. I'm buying tickets to their fucking shows anymore. Missing the Rumble this year because I got sick was a sign.
Yeah, I saw they had Julia lose the US title in 1 minute to Chelsea Green. I was like, that's a good job. You've done a really good job there. But Stardom, they had a Korak and Hall show because they started their tag league. Megan Bain came back, which is really surprising because she's got Blood and Guts on Wednesday, and she was working a show today, so she's got a crazy schedule. I wouldn't want that. But in the middle of the show, this woman comes out, and the crowd was like, "Oh!" It's like a big reaction, and her name was Fuwa-chan, and apparently she worked 2 shows back in 2002 or 2003, and I didn't remember. Then I saw the footage, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I remember her. She was a comedian," and I kept seeing her referred to as a rude comedian, which I guess is a way of saying an edgy comedian. So back in 2023, she tweeted to another comedian as a response, she said something, and then she's like, "Go kill yourself," which was people were like, "What the fuck?" And she obviously had to apologize for it and stuff. And I guess for a full year, she's just been radio silent. So she comes out at the Stardom show, and it turns out she's been training. She's going to be a full-time Stardom roster member. So it was big news, and I just looked at her tweet announcing it, and it's got 66 million views, which is that's pretty fucking crazy. So we'll see what actually that does for the promotion. But yeah, another big move from Stardom. It is funny just because you had the Western fans were complaining so much recently. You had the Marigold show with Io and Mayu Iwatani, which people seem to love, and then they go right into complaining about Stardom. And I guess rightfully so, because the Kamitani Momo Watanabe match wasn't as built up as that you would expect, because there's a history between the two of them. But Momo's also injured, so she's out right now. She was injured. Then she was taking time off after the match. But the Western fans were so up in arms. You'll watch a Stardom show and it'll be sold out, right? And the crowd seems to enjoy it. But then you go online and you see these Western fans just going nuts, shitting their pants about things. And it's just they don't care what you say, and I don't blame them. How much money do you think Stardom World actually brings to Stardom overall? Probably not much. And you've got these fans that really don't understand how the Japanese view things, but they think they know best. And I don't know, it's just always very funny, especially when it comes to Joshi fans, the way they go over the top about things. But yeah, this tweet getting millions of views, and was just really surprising to me, because I didn't know the story behind it. But I will see what happens. I mean, if she's serious about being a wrestler. I mean, it's possible that she's just using Stardom to like get back in the spotlight and then quit and go back into comedy or whatever. But we'll see how it turns out. But I thought it was interesting anyway.
So there's a genre of posts that have been popping up on social media that I think I need to make everyone aware of because they're fucking annoying. You'll see a slideshow on Instagram of like match graphics from Monday Night Raw from like 20, 25 years ago. And it's matches, and it's not even like the Radicals tag from Reunion Arena that everybody fucking loves because that match was awesome. It's like fucking Stone Cold and Bradshaw against the NWO or some stupid shit. And it's like, oh, we didn't realize how good we had it. And it's like, listen, man, I know Fed TV sucks shit now, but as a kid, there was nothing more deflating than a match being announced in the opening segment of Raw that it was like, or SmackDown even, that it's like, oh man, I can't wait for that. And then the match goes like 7 fucking minutes. There's no finish. It's kind of just nothing going on. And then it's like, well, fuck, I guess that's that.
It's
and people romanticized it. Well, no, because in the comments, people are like, well, the star power is all that matters. Star power, if nothing fucking happens, doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like
2 different Rock versus Triple H graphics for the fucking undisputed title in this post. And I'm like, can you tell me anything were those matches anywhere near as good as Backlash 2000? I'm willing to bet you they weren't.
I don't remember either those matches. So,
well, one of them, I'm like 99% sure one of them was set up by the Shut Up Bitch segment.
Oh, okay.
Like one of the all-time great. And if you've never seen the full segment, Rocky just drops the "shut up, bitch" mid-sentence because the setup's like da-da-da-da-da, not the least of which is the undisputed champion. So shut up, bitch. And it's like, if you just watch it out of context, you think like Triple H is mid-sentence when he says it. No, Rocky is mid-sentence. It's fucking hilarious. But like, dude, like posting match graphics and being like, oh, look, Undertaker and fucking Kane versus, Haku and Rikishi. Yeah, man, we really had a good one. That match was 4 minutes and it fucking sucked. Sorry.
I mean, no, it's none of those Raw main events between like that period. Like none of them were worth a damn. You
would get stuff in 01, like the Angle and fucking Benoit cage match. That match is crazy. Yeah, Austin's on commentary for it too. But like most of the time.
Yeah, the vast majority of the time. I mean, they'd set something up like a match and you'd be like, oh, that sounds like cool, or it's going to be a big deal. And then it's like 3 minutes. And it's like, oh, shit, okay.
That's a big problem with like 99. In 01, at least, they would let them go 7 or 8. But it's like, oh boy, bunch of run-ins, big brawl, and Raw goes off the air. Like that's not exciting.
Yeah, I mean,
in the comments, like, oh, these all led to big pay-per-view matches. What fucking pay-per-view match did that Bradshaw and Austin versus the NWO handicap match fucking lead to? Give me a break.
I don't know. They were trying with Bradshaw at that time. It didn't work.
Well, they tried with him 2 years later, and it still didn't work. But they fucking they ran with it.
They put him in the hardcore division quite fast, from what I remember. And then they had that Christian Jackie Gator tag, which fun stuff.
Yeah, Raw in 02 is really like, I've talked a lot about how bad Raw 99 is. Raw 02 is worse. And the shitty part is you get better wrestling on Raw in 02 because they have like the Eddie RVD ladder match, the Jeff Undertaker ladder match.
Yeah.
But the rest of the shows surrounding the like very, very, very infrequent good matches you get is like insufferably bad.
A lot of Raw 02 is just like desperation because like the product is failing.
The ship is crashing.
And they're doing everything they can to try and, bring it back up and doing like edgy bullshit again. And it's just like nothing works. But also
here's another thing people don't talk about. They go far, far deeper into like the trash TV shit in like 02, 03, 04, 05.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Than they do in 98, 99 even.
I mean, there's stuff people forget about. Like they did that Girls Gone Wild pay-per-view, and the dude that promoted that, I mean, if he wasn't trash enough just by the concept of it, like when you read about him and the fact that he like fled the country and shit. I think there's like a Dark Side episode on that, or like not Dark Side of the Ring, but like some Vice documentary or something. And that
Oh,
shit is
wasn't
like
it
super.
on TNT, Lifestyles of the Rich and Shameless or some shit like that?
That's probably what it is. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, but like people
Yeah,
forget
no, I
like shit like
remember.
that.
Yeah. And this isn't me excusing the really awful stuff they did in like 98, 99 either, but like I see people that are like they like proudly refer to themselves as like RA fans, and it's like, they did a sexual assault angle on SmackDown. They had to drop after a week
Uh
because
huh.
there was like a significant amount of outrage. Like, why are you doing an angle where your top babyface is accused of like rape?
Yeah.
And like
Well.
the Katie Vick thing, which the Between the Sheets just covered that, like the blow off to it. And I know I've told the story on the air before. I'm gonna tell it again. My teacher knew that I watched wrestling when I was in fifth grade because I was like, and this is gonna shock everybody listening to the show. I like only talked about wrestling and video games as a kid. Gee, what am I doing now? Right. Um, and so I guess so she would have something with me about like she did everybody else in the class. She happens to turn on Monday Night Raw the night that they do the Triple H segment in the funeral home. And the next day she calls me up to her desk and was like, "So I turned on wrestling last night." And this was the first time I had watched Monday Night Raw in months at that point because I hated it. And she starts like super low voice because she doesn't want anybody else to hear it, which is honestly how you have to talk about O2 WWE. Um, And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I only watch wrestling on Thursdays. And that ended the conversation. And then a few months later, I don't know if I've told this part, she turned on SmackDown the night of the Dawn Marie Tori Wilson thing.
Ugh.
And so I got called up to the desk on Friday and she's like, "Your mom lets you watch this?" And I was like, "It's wrestling." I finally used my mom's excuse of it's wrestling. Like, and then because I'm 11 and I'm stupid, I'm like, like those girls are hot, but they're not why I watch the show. And then, so then she starts looking at me like, "What?" And I have to be like, "Yeah, my favorite wrestler is Brock Lesnar. He's like the really big dude, and he's like the champion or whatever. He wasn't even champion at the time, and I said he was." And it was like this whole fucking stupid thing. So like wrestling never got brought up between me and her ever again. And if she heard me talking about it, I would always like out of the little peripheral vision I have, I would just see her looking at me like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" That's not an era where like you can romanticize the entirety of the product. You have to cherry pick. Like SmackDown 6, nothing else.
Hmm. Yeah,
Or
it's
like the Brock matches in the SmackDown 6, nothing else.
again, it's like they felt like they were backed into a corner, and then when they get backed into a corner like that, they become really embarrassing.
I mean, the ship was crashing. They
Yep.
bungled the invasion, which we've talked about it on the show. That whole concept was cool to me because ECW and WCW were teaming together. Like most of my favorite guys didn't come over, so after a while, even I like by the time we got to Survivor Series, I was just kind of like whatever. But they bungle that. Then they bring in the NWO, and also after Invasion, they do that thing where they turn everyone.
When
Like
you look at like the invasion and you look at who they brought in afterwards, it's like how could they have not wanted the invasion to fail? When you look at who they
they
had
just
access after that angle, it's like that doesn't make any sense.
they didn't want to spend the fucking money in '01.
Exactly.
And I guess the idea was like, well, those contracts are all going to expire eventually, and it's like, yeah, but you did the stock exchange thing. You just burned all this money on the XFL. Burn some money on some shit that'll make you money. And like, I it might have been Brian Alvarez who talked about it. It might even be in the death of WCW, but like they brought Goldberg in and they gave him all that money, and it pissed people off when they could have brought Goldberg in '01 for basically the same amount of money. and they could have made all of the money back on Goldberg like right away. Just run like 5 straight pay-per-views with Goldberg against the top WWF guys because people really want. I was 10. I wanted to see it. The WCW guys are coming in. Where's Goldberg? Where's Scott Steiner?
Dude, they like, killed WCW and they brought in Ric Flair the next night.
Yeah, and also they killed WCW. Do you remember where Survivor Series 01 happens?
Was
Greensboro Coliseum.
Oh god.
Greensboro Coliseum. And it's the Survivor Series. Like, you can't tell me it's coincidental. It is the Thanksgiving week show in Greensboro. What did Vince do to Starrcade 14 years earlier? He created the fucking Survivor Series where the angle ended.
Yep.
You can't tell me that's like accidental or that's happenstance, motherfucker. That shit was planned. And you know what? They didn't run a single Hell in a Cell match in 01. Why the fuck wasn't that a Hell in a Cell match? That 5-on-5 at the end?
It makes so much sense. I mean, if you think about like how different the invasion would have been if they had like Goldberg. Imagine if Team WCW was like Goldberg, Booker T, Scott Steiner, DDP,
Nash.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if you had Nash, Hogan, and Hall during the invasion, would they have played the NWO then as like against everyone?
You know what they would have done? They would have fucking played the NWO as guys that were bitter because WCW went away and now they were back to kill the company that they left. Basically what they did. Honestly, that's what they would have done.
Probably, yeah.
That or they would have brought those guys in as being neutral and they would have fucked. No, you know what they would have done? They would have brought those guys in at the start. They would have played them like they were going to be like WWF guys, and then they would have fucked them over at the inaugural brawl.
Or they would have just
had a hypothetical universe where Triple H's quads didn't say "see you later." He was going to pedigree everybody anyway, so basically just book the next year of pay-per-views with that.
If this thing in Triple H match is any indication, the NWO would just be a part of WCW because WWE didn't know the difference.
No.
That would have been hilarious.
It's a frustrating thing to look back on, but also like go on.
It's just too wild too because like you look at like the talent that they did have access to, and you look at the young talent that came in. You had like Sean O'Haire, Palumbo, like Jindrak, and these guys that had potential. But they gave up on all of them too. Like you had an influx of new talent as well, and you didn't really bother. You know, it's the whole thing is just really sad.
Well, they tried with O'Haire, but he couldn't cut a fucking promo without having to do like 40 takes.
I guess they tried. I mean, couldn't help but think there would have been more there, but I don't think putting him with Roddy Piper really helped him. It's like,
well, they put him with Piper because he couldn't talk.
But Piper's not a right fit for him. Like, if you're going to put him with someone that talk, you've got to find a good fit, and Piper wasn't the right guy.
No, but like that was the guy they landed on in 03 because when Piper shows up at Mania 19, he gets the big pop because he's fucking Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
And dude, there's so many weird decisions. Jindrak, look, they sent him to OVW. They sent him to HWA and OVW. They did the same thing with O'Haire. And also this, O'Haire, despite not being a good promo, was a better worker than Jindrak ever was.
Yeah.
Not saying much, but like, you know, a 4.5 is still better than a 3.5.
Who else did they have?
The younger, well, they didn't get Mike Sanders, which would have honestly, if they could have kept him around, would have been my pick of who you put with Sean O'Haire.
They had Reno, right?
He wasn't around for very long, was he?
I don't think so, but I think they had him, didn't they?
I feel like if they did, he wasn't hanging around long.
Why didn't they pick up AJ?
He turned him down.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's told the story, like, the money wasn't, like, basically he didn't want to uproot, like, all the shit that was going on with his wife because she was in college to be a teacher and it wasn't enough money.
Right, yeah.
But I don't remember if that's the story about when they approached him in 01 or if that's when they approached him in, like, 02, 03.
Was Easy Money working HWA?
He might have been.
trying to think.
I've seen way more of OVW than I've seen of HWA, but like the Jindrak stuff I saw from OVW, like they couldn't get shit out of him. Like Sean O'Hare at least turns into like an all right wrestler beyond just doing a really cool swanton bomb.
Yeah.
It's just that guy couldn't fucking talk. Those Devil's Advocate promos, everybody remembers those, and they're great until you find out like that was the end result of hours of doing the same promo and trying to find a way to cut them together where
Yeah,
they made sense.
they're not done in a live environment either, right? So yeah, you can edit to your heart's content.
Yeah. And like I don't think they didn't get near as much as they could have out of the ECW guys they had. Like Rhino, I mean, he gets injured, but like Rhino was over.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Van Dam, why does it take till 2006 for him to get the fucking title? Why didn't they bring Balls in? Couldn't get Kid
Yeah, I
Cash?
mean,
Couldn't get Mikey? Could get Super Crazy?
Kid Cash would have made a lot of sense, especially for that time. Yeah.
I'm sure with his attitude, he would have made a lot of friends in the locker room too.
Well, he did
And then there's
eventually end up there.
Yeah, and his attitude made a lot of friends in the locker room, and that's why he didn't last.
Why was like, what happened with Jamie Noble? Because he was like, he was an HWA guy, right? They sent him there.
Yeah, they sent him to developmental, and then he gets brought up in 02.
Yeah, that's not a guy you really needed to send to developmental. You could have put him in the cruiserweight division, right off the bat.
Yeah, he was great.
They sent didn't they send Courageous and Shannon Moore? They were HWA as well, I think.
Yeah, they sent Chronic to HWA too, which is fucking hilarious when you consider that both of those guys had somewhat notable runs on WWF television.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Including Brian Adams, who was on WWF television 4 years earlier.
What was, you have to remind me because I don't remember, what was Vampiro's status at the end of WCW?
I don't actually know.
I can't remember if he was still there or not.
I was going to ask you, is he still under contract in March of 01?
I don't remember. Did he work XWA in not XWA, sorry, XPW in 2001?
WW? Oh, you know what, he might have.
Yeah, I know he was in XWF later on.
Was he on those WWA shows too?
He might have been. He's not someone that I think of when I think of those shows.
I've still never seen them. But yeah, like that era of WWE, they bungle the Invasion, they bungle the NWO, Austin leaves. And that was the point I remember as a kid where a lot of my friends at school that watched wrestling, by the time summer break was over and we all came back for 5th grade, a lot of them did not like wrestling anymore.
I still watched it as a kid. The Katie Vick episode, like the week after when Triple H did the promo, was like the 1 week I missed Raw for the first time in like forever and just played Fire Pro.
I had a point in like 02 and 03 where I would just not watch Raw for like long stretches of time.
Yeah.
Because, like, who fucking cares? It's the Triple H show. You know what I mean?
That was also around the time that they started doing house shows around here again after like avoiding us for years. So it was like you watch the show and you would see them, on the weekend as well. So a lot of test and RVD around that time frame.
Speaking of test, that Global Warning show they did in Australia in 02, one, I didn't realize that aired on TV in New Zealand like 5 months later, which is such a mindfuck to think about. But they also taped an Angle and Test match on that show that did not get released on the DVD, and I'm kind of curious if that match is any good.
Oh, what's that? What was
Kurt Angle and Test?
I thought you said an Angle during a Test match. You said Angle and Test. Gotcha.
Yeah, Angle versus Test. And that was a weird show because like they would do the UK pay-per-views as DVDs, but that was a show that was like basically just a house show. as far as the
Mm.
rest of the world was concerned. I mean, obviously they do air it on TV a few months later, and it gets a DVD release, and it's kind of like the vibes of like the old WWF World Tour Coliseum videos, the UK
Yeah.
Rampage
Yeah.
Coliseum videos. I never ended up getting it because I was just kind of like, oh, whatever. It's a show that they did in Australia. Now looking back, I wish I would have gotten it just for the novelty of like, that's kind of a fucking cool show. And also
Yep.
Triple H eats the pin in the main event. So
I never watched it, but it was really weird at the time seeing like what was the huge show? Like I think it was like a dome setting or a stadium, right? It was a
yeah, it
stadium.
was like a stadium with like 50,000 people.
And I mean back then you didn't see that. Like it was like you wouldn't have thought that they would have done a show like that and not have it be on like pay-per-view or something. So I remember seeing it and just being like, this is really crazy. Like, why is there so many people for a show that's not televised? So that was always like an interesting aspect for me.
And then they never do any sort of DVDs like that again. And I remember just going back and looking at like the Budokan house shows they were running in the 2000s and just going, oh, you know what, this would make a cool DVD. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make a cool DVD. And they just never did it. I mean, we finally got the Triple H and Tajiri match. Thank you to Vintage Pro Wrest or whatever fucking Twitter account put that in the public conscience for a few minutes and got us that upload.
Do you remember
But
they did
that's
that
like,
show? They did that network specials like Beast in the East.
yeah. And then they did the Madison Square Garden one a couple of months later.
Yeah, that was cool ideas for the network.
Yeah, and then they kind of stopped doing those, and then they did like the random ones, like the edited down Starcades,
Wasn't there like
and
there was one of Triple H and Dean Ambrose?
yeah, Roadblock, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then they did which that one's kind of in the same vein, and then they did wasn't the last field match on one called like SmackDown or some shit like that?
Probably.
Like that's some real 1993 Coliseum video energy, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they were cool. They're interesting because it felt like getting access in a way to, the the house shows that they would put up there from like MSG and stuff that aired somewhere, but you never saw them as a kid. So it was like it felt
Yeah.
like the same sort of concept. So they were interesting.
And also, I can't think of that like 01, 02, 03 time period without thinking about like how the Jax WWE line completely just dies for a
Yeah.
little bit. Because like we're gonna do RE3. Oh no, we're not. We're still gonna do Titantron figures. Oh, here's a bunch of like bendy figures. Oh, here's the unlimited figures with real feel skin that are not going to hold up over the years because apparently like all of those are just drying out and cracking now. And
Just-
the Ruthless Aggression figures come out, but they still do Titantron figures. I mean, the Andre the Giant in Classic Superstars 1 is literally just R3 Big Show. The Undertaker's a Titantron figure that didn't get released, 3 years earlier?
I mean, it was a weird time for the business in like every aspect, right? The early
Yeah,
2000s. It's just like you look back at it and it's like what a weird shit they were doing at this time. Like everyone.
the video games were great, though, across the board for
What's
the
the
most
one
part.
thing that you had?
Yeah, like Raw sucked. Mania X8's an okay game. Shut Your Mouth is a great game. Obviously, KOC Red is incredible.
Hmm.
And, like '03, you get KOC Green, Fire Pro Z. Also, '02, you get Final Fire Pro. Um, and then you get like Mania 19 and Here Comes the Pain in '03. It was that's like the highlight of that era. Like my fondest memories are basically like SmackDown from that era, some TNA stuff, and like the games. Oh, also
Yep.
Def Jam in '03 and Kinnikuman in '03.
Yeah, that's right.
Like just wonderful time to be a fan, unless you were actually watching the product, in which case it was kind of not wonderful. I feel like there's something else I wanted to bring up, and I'm not fucking remembering it now.
I'm probably going to see Predator Badlands next week.
Oh, neat. Has
Looks
Killer of
fun.
Killers gotten a physical release date announcement yet?
No, not that I've seen.
Lame. Oh, that's what it was. Smashing Machine is getting a limited edition 4K release from A24.
Right.
I'm going to be grabbing that. Ray saw that movie and was like, at points, it's kind of just shot for shot the documentary, so I'm not sure why it exists.
I still haven't seen it. I'm sort of bullish on it because I don't really like The Rock, but I'm sure I'll end up seeing it at some point.
It's also very funny that Ryan Bader's in that movie as Mark Coleman, but he doesn't like they don't change his appearance. It's literally just Ryan Bader. And like Oleksandr Usyk, the boxing champion, plays Igor Vovchanchin, but he doesn't look anything like Igor.
I miss Igor. He was fun.
Yeah, yeah, he's not around that long into like the peak period of Pride, if I remember correctly. By like '03, he's kind of like a non-factor at that
Yeah,
point.
he wasn't around long, but when he was like a big deal. You know, he was a
He
fun
was
person to
very fun to
watch.
watch.
I feel like watching that movie is just gonna make me bust out my Pride DVDs.
Yeah, I mean, most of the events are just on YouTube in full. The UFC just doesn't seem compelled to do anything about it.
Yeah, that's true. But for some reason, I just like busting out the DVDs and watching them like that. I
Yeah.
got those DVDs for so cheap. It was crazy. Just like walking into Giant Tiger, which is like a department store here, and just seeing like these Pride DVDs and seeing like the steelbook of the Grand Prix 2000 for
Oh, I got
like,
that at Kmart like right after Christmas in 2011 for like $5.
yeah, same. Like they were all like $5 at the time, or like maybe 15. But like just seeing them all there and like being a fan of Pride, but not having anything on DVD or tape except for the Pride K1 Shockwave show. It was just like, holy shit! Like it's all here. All my favorites are here. It blew my mind.
I started getting the Pride Fighting Legacy, which were like
Yeah,
5 packs
yeah, that's what they
around that
had.
time. But
That's yeah,
those were weird though, because they would omit certain shows like the Cebu Dome show where Henzo Gracie
yeah,
does the job for Sakuraba. The Shamrock and Don Fry show was also omitted. Obviously, the Grand Prix shows were their own releases. The Bushido shows were their own releases. But I loved those sets. Like in 2011, I literally would just marathon those. I didn't give a fuck. I loved that shit so much. I still do.
yeah.
Um,
The ones that were missing out from Legacy Collectional got their own release, right?
it,
Like I
yeah, I
don't know
have
why
Bad
they.
Blood and Return of the
Yeah,
Warriors or whatever that one's
exactly.
called.
Yeah, so sometimes they would have those as well, and like I think I ended up just buying like one off eBay that I didn't have. I think there was only like one show that didn't make DVD, if I remember correctly, but it might have been a compilation.
Shockwave '02 doesn't have like a North American commercial release, is my understanding, because of the K1 stuff.
Hmm. Was there a show called like Best of the Best or something?
There's a show called like Battle of the Best, I think.
Is that the one that maybe didn't make it on DVD?
Hold on. I'm starting to think Battle of the Best was one of the ROH Japan shows in like '08. Yeah, it was.
Um, what was the year of the show they did of K1, the Shockwave? Do you remember? Was
'02.
it 2002?
Yeah.
Hmm, you might be right.
There's a Japanese commercial release, but not a US one.
Right, yeah, because I see, yeah, they did a. Oh, that's from Japan. They did a Shockwave collection in Japan. Weirdly, I
Is
thought that got released.
UFC Fight Pass, when they started putting the Pride stuff up, they only have select fights from that show because that's what aired on the US pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah.
Which you also get Bill Goldberg on commentary for Bob Sapp versus Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, which is fucking hilarious.
And was that the show they did an angle with him and Naoya Ogawa? For
The Hustle match takes place in early '04.
oh, so like
I don't
I'm way ahead. Yeah.
that show's like fascinating, and I wish that had a commercial release in the US. Like I would just take the stuff from the pay-per-view. I don't even need the the stuff that they did want to air here.
It,
I would have just been happy with, what
it
aired.
was wild getting that for free, and I still don't know why. Like, I remember just watching the pre-show, and usually when the pre-show is done, like it would cut out and be like, "You need to purchase this event, yada yada," and it just showed, and like the replay showed as well. So I ended up recording it, and I remember just watching it, and my dad went to bed, and I'm just sitting there watching like Inoki like skydive into the arena, and I'm watching or the stadium, and I'm watching Nogueira against Bob Sapp, and I was like, "This is the craziest shit," and this is better than anything I've ever seen. It was so good.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite MMA events. Sapp and Nogueira is one of my favorite fights in general. It's not the most
Yeah.
technical exhibition. It's not like the craziest stand-up fight, but what you do see is Nogueira getting dropped directly on the top of his fucking head.
And I think that was my first like exposure to Bob Sapp outside of like that one Thunder he had an interview on, and maybe a match in Wildside, and obviously that's quite different than Pride, obviously. But seeing him in that was just like, who is this dude? Like, I need to know more, and like getting to read more about him and seeing like the Sapp time video and stuff was just it was the best. I love
So
Bob Sapp.
looking at it, yeah, Bob Sapp was pretty neat. Apparently in the US, the main event of the pay-per-view was Sakuraba versus Crow Cop.
Hmm, that sounds about right.
Oh, that's also the main event on the the Japanese commercial DVD.
Oh,
My
so they
bad.
didn't have like, did they not have like a full release of like Pride slash K1? Was it just split up there as well?
So looking at it,
Because I need to track that down if they did make a full one.
so the US pay-per-view, from what I can tell, is like the same show. It's just the Daijiro Matsui fight. They only have the third round of.
Okay.
So the US pay-per-view is actually like roughly a half an hour longer than the Japanese commercial release. But the Japanese commercial release, it's complete. So I'm guessing the extra content you get on the US pay-per-view are like the inserts with Boss and
Yeah.
Stephen Quadros,
Yeah. Was
because
Don
you don't
Fry
really
in a
get that on the.
K1 fight on that
Yeah,
show?
he fights Jerome LeBanner, and I'm assuming
That's
that does not go so well for him.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, because I do remember him being in a K1 match.
That there's no way that goes longer than a round, right? Like, all due respect to Don Fry, it's fucking Jerome LeBanner.
You remember when they
Uh,
put Steve Williams in K1?
1 minute 30 seconds in the first round.
Sounds about right.
No, I don't remember Doctor Death in K1. What the fuck?
I'm pretty sure it was when he was battling throat cancer. He had a fight in K1.
Oh, in '04, he was knocked out 22 seconds into the first round.
That's awful.
Well, so the Brawl for All wasn't a fluke, as we
Yeah, but
know.
yeah, I just thought the dude was fighting cancer at the same time. Needed the money and
Yeah. That's like a fucking depressing thing.
yeah,
Like the
sure
money he
is.
could have made in that Fed run and the money that he made in Japan that was spent on, other things.
Yeah,
He's a good wrestler, though. I don't have any gripes with Dr. Death.
it'd been wild to think of like other guys that were in pro wrestling if they were around at that time, what they would have done with them in like K1 and Pride and shit. Like they had Sylvester Turkai doing that shit. Like if Brody was younger and he was around, then obviously he would have done it. But like, can you imagine like Terry Gordy doing like MMA and stuff?
I don't know about like Terry Gordy as we knew him in like 1994 doing it. That would have.
I think they would have tried.
Yeah, and I'm sure they would have offered him enough money to where he would have had to have taken it. Obviously,
Do you think they ever offered Vader a fight?
there was the rumor he was going to fight in Pride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I vividly remember that because it was after he got sideways with Noah. There was the alleged Yakuza thing. He allegedly faked his own death, and amidst all of this, there was the rumor he was going to fight in Pride. You know what it probably would have been? They would have just had him fight Takada.
Yeah,
Probably
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
try to do like a less worked looking version of what they were doing in UWFI. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
the Asuka fight. Maybe they would have done a more worked version of what they were doing in UWFI.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
Did Mike Barton do K1?
He fought. Didn't he fight in Pride?
I don't rem- I
Oh,
don't I don't think so. For some reason I have a memory of him being in K1.
he fights Manoa Man in Pride, like for sure. Yeah, he fights Cabbage Carrera, which okay, and then he fights Manoa Man and loses the decision, and then never
Oh
fights
shit.
again.
Yeah, I see that now. Yeah, I did not remember that.
I guess he allegedly just like wants nothing to do with wrestling
Uh,
because apparently like figure companies have reached out to like through his like kids to try to sign him, and he just does not fucking care.
oh, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, there's money to be made, but
Well,
yeah,
they're
it's up to
making
him.
that Smoking Guns Billy figure. It'd be nice if they, could have got Bart to go with him, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't love those guys when I was little, but the Sidewinder was a really fucking cool finish.
Yeah, and you don't want strictly a Billy. You'd want both of them, obviously.
Yeah, but it's the Mattel thing. You get Warlord but not Barbarian. You get Bulldog but not Dynamite. You get
Yeah.
who was the other really egregious example where they did like one? You get Sean but not Marty.
Mm.
I feel like there's another more egregious example that we've gotten in the last couple of years, and I'm drawing a fucking blank on who it was, obviously. But yeah, it's weird. You'd think people would like money, but if you're working as like an electrician or whatever, you're probably making pretty okay money anyway.
Yeah. True.
I mean, I'm sure he lives like in Alabama or something where the cost of living is not like super duper high.
Yeah. I mean, at least he
Again,
did the Dark Side episode.
yeah, can you imagine how empty that episode would have been without him?
Yeah, that's true.
Because that shit kind of is just a Bart Gunn story. Because that's the only thing anybody talks about coming out of it. Like, I'm willing to bet you a lot of people don't remember anything about that shit other than like the legend surrounding him knocking out Dr. Death.
Just like him and the short haired hoe is like the only thing anyone talks about from that tournament.
And like, for the longest time, I didn't remember that he won it. I just remembered he knocked out Dr.
God, what a crazy thing that was.
What a fucking moronic idea. And they never did it again. But they did use the Brawl for All naming for the Jax mini rings that had like the tiny
Yeah,
Maximum Sweat looking figures. I always
yeah,
thought
I
that was
remember that.
funny.
And you got the theme song for Ezekiel Jackson.
That the lyrical version of that, like the one he actually used, is hilarious.
Yeah.
Jim Johnston was running out of steam after a certain point.
This here what you call domination.
It's a combination. It's a combination of skills and concentration to rise to the occasion, do something amazing.
Anything that I
Like,
do dominate in.
yeah, just I don't
Hey, at
know,
least it's
man. It is. It is. But I also remember Blue Meanie. Wow, wait a minute. Just looking at the computer room, so this is like a big brain thing. I have two copies of the book Titan Sinking by James Dixon. One of them has more of a glossy cover and the other has a matte cover. I cannot tell you which one was the first one I got versus which one is the second, but I did not realize that I had both copies of that book in the same fucking room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I so this has happened a bunch to me. I'll lose something, have no clue where it is, and just buy a new one. Like PWG sells out the comp DVD.
Mm-hmm.
I lost that. I had like the original Big Vision, like the commercial release. I lost that. Had no clue where the fuck it was. Bought a new copy along with Sells Out 2 and 3. And then, like, literally the day after I bought it, a second copy, found my first copy.
That weird shit happens to me like that. Like there was one game, like I maybe it was Quantum Break or something else, and I was like, I had a copy, and then I was looking through a drawer, and I found like an unboxed copy, and I was like, why do I have two copies of the same game? I think it's because back in the day, AB Games Canada used to have like contests on Twitter a lot, and I don't think they had many followers, so like I won a bunch of games through their account. So I don't know if I won like two copies of the same game or what, but I just remember like being like, the fuck is happening? And it freaked me out. Just like, surely I didn't buy the same game twice on the same console, you know?
I'm pretty sure I've done that with a video game at least once in my life.
I've definitely bought games for different consoles on like PC and stuff, just because of ease of
Yeah, but that's
access.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's not, having brain damage and being forgetful. That's
right.
just ease of access. Having
Um,
said that, I don't. Oh, go on.
just one thing. Did you see that DPW is going on indefinite hiatus?
Yeah, I kind of hate to hear that because they were booking some pretty interesting stuff, and I hope it's not something bad going on behind the scenes. I hope it's just like a case of they're taking a break.
So they're doing a charity show, and tickets are like $1, and they're. It sounds like amazing. Like, I don't have all the details here, but like it sounds like a hell of a thing that they're doing there. Just the ticket prices and then donating money themselves, like really, really good. And then they're doing a show in Japan next year, and I guess that's it. I guess Prestige is also going on hiatus or close out. I don't know, one of the two.
Was that the
Uh,
one that had the owner that had like the gambling addiction or whatever?
I don't know. It just doesn't sound like good times for indies right now.
I remember one of my friends sent me something about like one of the independent companies. The owner posted something about a gambling addiction or whatever, and that's like awful. Get help, please.
Yeah,
But like
definitely.
when I saw that, I was like, of all the reasons an independent promotion has gone under, I'm shocked this isn't one we've heard more.
Yeah, true.
But
Also,
yeah, Deadlock. Every time I've ever popped my head in to see what they had going on, it seemed like a super interesting product, and they booked a lot of people I like.
yeah, and they just seemed like very genuine, like in a way that like whenever you hear a wrestler post about like their promotion, they all seem like super grateful and like nobody has anything bad to say, which is kind of crazy. You know, it's you don't. I don't know. It just seems like like a super positive atmosphere at their shows, and obviously I really enjoy their podcast, so it was really sad to hear. Um, did you also hear like the thing about Nixon Newell and her partner refusing to appear in
Yeah,
AEW last night?
yeah. I don't know if I was in a situation where I was on my last opportunity. Listen, I've burned a lot of bridges in my life. I saw that report when I woke up this morning and went, just do the fucking job.
Well, the thing that's being reported today is that not that they didn't want to lose, but they wanted a longer match. But like, I don't know. It's like in this situation, you sort of take what you can get. I mean, it's appropriate that she does the Shining Wizard because she doesn't have any knees. You know, it's like just do it. I don't know. It's like I would have done it. Give me 3 minutes. I don't
I
care.
mean, Yeah, at that point, like, you're getting your foot in the door. Mark Briscoe didn't win every fucking match he had when he's Mark Briscoe. Kyle Fletcher didn't fucking come in and, like, beat everybody right away. Like, you know what
Yeah,
this is? At least one of I know Nixon Newell's a former WWE talent. I don't know about the other one. This might be their way of testing the people that are
that's true.
fresh from WWE. Like, you wanna do business? You wanna play ball? And
Yeah, I mean,
if this is their way of vetting those people, good.
it seemed like Lacey Lane was liked from her match with Mercedes, and I know she did some ROH as well, so maybe she'll get signed. But like, yeah, and Nixon Newell's partner also had shared like a bunch of dumb shit on Instagram too, so maybe they're not in the best headspace.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched all of Collision except the last two matches last night. My sleep schedule's taking a pounding because I'm bouncing all over like what my start time is. So
Hmm.
trying to maintain like a constant go to bed this time, wake up this time, it's a little difficult when
Yeah,
it's 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, off a day, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, off 2 days, come back, 9 o'clock a couple days, 6 o'clock. Like, I just
that's
have
gross.
me in a seven every day for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
But yeah, I liked the show from what I saw of it last night. I liked the Bayou Music Center they were in. The smaller concert hall stuff looks cool. I genuinely hope they can get to where they're able to, do decent numbers in big venues. I know they're running Greensboro on Wednesday, and Greensboro is like a weird market that it seems once Crockett fucked them over by moving Starcade in '87, it seems like a difficult place to really draw well. I thought I know
mm.
the WWF had some success with Austin. And obviously the Sting retirement show drew really well, but it's the fucking Sting retirement show.
And they're bringing in
Uh,
Flynn Steamboat.
yeah, which that's cool. I saw the baby faces have the advantage in the men's match, and it's kind of obvious Roderick Strong's turning. Maybe they don't do that, but that's kind of how this feels. And the most famous and well-loved example of I can think of the babyface advantage in a War Games match is ROH Cage of Death, which they already paid homage to once this year. They might do it again because Danielson comes in and immediately attacks Joe and then fucks off, and they have to have the Homicide run. I don't think Homicide's coming in to save the men's team in Greensboro, though.
No, he might get
Eddie
stuck on the
Payson came up.
cage.
Oh God.
I was really looking forward to the Blood and Guts matches, but then I reminded myself that they often started on the outside and filled up with weapons, and I'm like, dude. And we're gonna get the spot where both teams are on the sides of the ring and meet in the middle, and I'm just like, I don't.
That's much more of a WWE War Games thing. I'm not saying it hasn't happened in Blood and Guts, but that's like one of the hallmark fucking War Games spots is like WWE War Games is like do the West Side Story bit. I hate that shit. My biggest problem is how long these matches go. If you want to bring weapons in, like that's stupid, but whatever. These do not need to go 40 fucking minutes. Go look at the runtime of all the old War Games matches. War Games 92, there's not a single fucking War Games match that comes after that's like anywhere near as good. That match goes 24 minutes. Because it's a tag match. Heels get heat, hot tag. Heels get heat, hot tag. You alternate till everybody's in, and then you race to the finish because the whole idea, it's a fucking 2-ring cage match. Everybody's taking damage like quickly.
Yeah, and the
But
women's
now,
match is going to take up a little bit more time with the entrance because they've got 6 women
12.
on. Yeah,
And both of those matches are most likely going to be filled with a lot of like obvious cooperation and really goofy bullshit. The women's match has people in it that I think are very good that I know they're going to do like spots that are a little too cutesy. Whereas I wish, we could just have people in that match that are willing to bleed and fight, which there are people, but also I look at like they're going to do power spots with Statlander and Megan Bain. That's obvious. Mercedes is not going to be doing anything that approximates an old War Games match. Like she doesn't have that in her.
You're gonna have
Tony
like,
Storm's willing to bleed. Like, Mina's a weird pick. I get why she's in it, but she's a weird pick for that match because nothing I've ever seen from her indicates she has a willingness to like really get violent the way you would need to in one of those matches.
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
'Cause it's
they have like Tekla climbing the cage upside down and shit.
yeah, that's oh god. I mean, I'm sure Sky Blue's willing to fucking blade.
Yeah,
She seems like a sicko. Tony Storm, God knows she will. Willow probably will. This is a match that really badly needed fucking Ruby Soho.
mm.
Like badly. Like she would run the fucking razor for sure. I miss seeing her on TV. She was good. Not just because she would bleed, but she was just like genuinely a very good worker.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
yeah, not
they're running at that board game cafe, which is pretty cool. I saw a video on that.
yeah, I heard about that. I want to pull up and see what they got.
Yep.
I'll smash everybody that walks in that building and connect for. I am a generational talent. Just thought y'all should know. But yeah, I'll be watching Blood and Guts. Although I do have an early day on Tuesday or Wednesday because I'm in at 6, and that's a 2.5 hour show because we're doing that a bunch now. Um, we'll see. I'm like 99% sure I'm gonna just watch the whole thing live and just be miserable at work the next day. But yeah, I don't know. Not as excited as I was for the first Blood and Guts, and that's Jericho getting into the ring and then all of the stupid bullshit happening like immediately after. That's tainted how I feel about that match type in general.
Yeah.
Like we're cutting up the canvas, fucking we're getting out of the cage, we're doing a crash pad bump for the finish. Cause fucking I don't know. Hopefully I mean I can't imagine the men's match isn't gonna have some like really stupid shit. I love Darby, but I just climb up the cage and do a coffin drop onto everybody, I guess, if you have to. Everybody else needs to just fight and bleed.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases where keep it simple, stupid, but they've done so much of this match type now. It's like they have no desire to do that. It's like we've got to do all this wild shit, and I still think you just don't need it. I wish
No.
we still lived in an era where the danger of a cage match was the cage itself instead of all the things you can bring into it.
Yeah, like War Games doesn't translate well to modern wrestling, and honestly, cage matches don't either.
No.
People don't fucking just go into a match to bleed and fight anymore. And I know that like punch kick wrestling has like a bad name, like a lot of modern fans think it's boring or whatever. I saw like MVP said something about like the guys that draw the most money don't do like the most stuff in the ring. And somebody was like, I'd rather watch Will Ospreay. Who the fuck was the other one? It was Will Ospreay, somebody else, and Ace Austin. And it was Ospreay, ZSJ, and Ace Austin. And I was like, if you think Will Ospreay's like more exciting to watch than Stone Cold Steve Austin, I don't necessarily agree, but I understand why you would think that. I don't really see the argument for Zack Sabre Jr. because I've always kind of felt like he needs somebody that can kind of curb his shit to make him more interesting to watch. How the fuck do you get Ace Austin on that goddamn list? He had a good match last night with Kyle Fletcher, but that's the power of the fucking Fletch, man. That's the proto star.
Yeah, I'm not even that familiar with Ace Austin to begin with.
And like, I saw that and it's like, if you like the modern style of wrestling, that's cool. But like, saying like these guys are better than Stone Cold and The Rock because those guys, their matches had heavy character work. We're it's 2025 and we're gonna do the thing again where we're gonna pretend like The Rock couldn't go. Watch him with Benoit. Watch the one match he has with Eddie. Watch any match he has that isn't with like one of the like in-house like WWF style guys. Rocky could go. Austin could go too. Like, what the fuck are we doing now? Like,
he really seemed to enjoy working with those guys too, like Eddie and Benoit, and I think he really enjoyed working with Rhino. Was another one he liked working with.
Yeah, the guys that it seemed like he had to actually step up to like try to match them, you can tell he has like genuine enthusiasm in those matches. I don't
Yeah,
blame him for not being enthusiastic about working with fucking Kane or The Undertaker. What the fuck are you gonna do?
exactly. Yeah.
But it's like this weird thing of like we're going to shit on all of the previous main eventers because they didn't do like that they emphasized character. No, they didn't. Like Hogan's matches are not character work. Hogan is a babyface selling and making a comeback. That is as tried and
Hmm.
true as anything in the history of wrestling. Same thing with Austin. Same thing with Rock. Same thing with fucking Goldberg. Well, Goldberg didn't really sell. He just did bell rings and Goldberg does Goldberg stuff, and that's why he ruled.
I saw
And like,
there was a tweet when he God, I can't remember who he was wrestling, but it was a match where he does like the backflip after getting hit with like a kick or something, and someone's just like, "Why would he do that?" It's because it's cool.
fucking Goldberg.
Yeah, it ruled.
It doesn't have to make sense. It's fucking Goldberg, bud. Like that's why he did it.
Like
And
the
like,
Laparga match still in my head, him getting hit with the chair and Laparga dancing and Goldberg just shaking it off and spearing him. It's like one of the best things ever.
Parker does the little fucking dance and swings around and gets fucking yeah, that shit rules.
Yeah.
I appreciate the guys who are very athletic, and I obviously appreciate the physical commitment of doing all of the things that these guys do. To act like wrestling's gotten so homogenized where like people think that's the only thing you can do and be a good wrestler, and I don't think that's not the case at all.
Yeah, sometimes it
I
just takes
watched
the
the
littlest things.
I watched that whole '87 Crockett Cup in a call with two of my buddies, and no two guys on that card were really like either of those cards because it's two shows were really the same. All of them were really good. Imagine that tag tournament if everybody worked the same. Imagine like either of the big promotions now doing a Crockett Cup style tournament where it's like fucking 24 teams or 16 teams or whatever. How many of those teams are going to have basically the same match?
Yeah, I was watching UWF Takada against the Cobra, and like two different styles, and it was just like so fun. It was so fun to watch that match.
And like to the point about watching Japanese commercial sets, watching the Inoki set, Inoki and Billy Robinson's a completely different match from like Inoki and Vader. Inoki
Yeah,
and Backlund's different from Inoki
of
and Billy
course.
too.
Yeah,
Like wrestling is cool when like not everybody employs the same general match structure
it's
or does the same general moves.
yeah, it's the thing. Sort of what I brought up in the Wild Rings video too is like, to me, I prefer like older UFC, the wild days of UFC, to more like modern stuff because there was a fun factor to seeing a guy who was a boxer fight like a different style, like a karate guy or judo or wrestler, whatever. And seeing just wild shit with like the dude coming to the ring with wearing one boxing glove, and as opposed to like later on when you had to learn all the different styles if you wanted to succeed because that's what everyone was doing. And you've got like this everyone's just got like the same sponsors and everyone's got the same gloves and everyone's got the same shorts. And I don't know, I think there's just it's so much more fun to watch people that are different as opposed to like everyone is the same. And it's the same with wrestling, right? It's like I don't want everyone to be doing like an Oz cutter or whatever. Like it's fun watching people do different things, and we've gotten so far away from that, and I think it's so unfortunate.
Yeah, I will say AEW's gotten a bit better, I guess, recently about guys not doing all of the same shit. But like
Hmm.
every time you hear people like group guys together as an example of why modern wrestling is better, it's all guys that are basically just different sides of the same coin. Will Ospreay like doesn't do a lot of like mat work, but his matches structurally are not that different from Zack Sabre Jr. Like it's not a
Right.
different style just because Zack is on the mat. Like they are Zack Sabre Jr. is basically just doing spot fests on the mat, and it's not especially exciting unless you have somebody like Goto, or even
Hmm.
God forbid Danielson in the one match where Moxley won't shut the fuck up on commentary. And I I like my spot fest. I'll watch Kenta versus Marufuji from 2006, the heavyweight title match, or the junior title match from '06. I'll watch that shit all day. But I don't think that's the only style of wrestling that's valid, or the only style of wrestling that I think has merit. I think every style has merit on some. Well, maybe not modern WWE, but like most wrestling styles have merit on some level. It's some I think stylistically, subjectively are better, but I don't like the idea where like everybody's basically like copy and paste, create a wrestler, change the moves a little bit. That's not exciting to me.
I mean, they say variety is the spice of life, and that's one of the reasons why some of those like FMW shows and Japanese independents are fun, because people think of like promotions like FMW as just like barbed wire, but like they would have like lucha guys on the show and like women's matches and shoot style and all this different stuff. And yeah, I just the variety shows like that were just really fun to watch, and I wish there was just more of that.
Yeah, I missed when the Muto retirement show happened. That was like a weird throwback to when there
Yeah.
was variety up and down the card on shows. Like that is very much like an old school New Japan Dome show. The
Yep.
10U show had like everything basically, and that was like the beauty of Japanese wrestling, the weekly Pro Dome show.
Mm-hmm.
Even the interpromotional stuff, like when Big Japan gets bitched at the Dome in '97.
Yeah, they sure
When
did.
Noah and New Japan works together, when they work together like 0203, two completely different philosophies of wrestling, but it works because everybody has an idea. And it's why I don't get that excited about a lot of interpromotional stuff that happens in Japan now. Like the younger guys
It's
don't,
different.
yeah, they're not that. Like when they did Nakajima and Kento a couple of years ago, those guys came in long ago enough where like they kind of had how to do it beaten into them. And also
Mm-hmm.
Nakajima's just in a bunch of interpromotional stuff by virtue of being a freelancer his whole life. But like, well, I can't even say that because Kaito and Okada really figured it out, huh?
Yeah.
2 years later, everybody thinks that shit's a shoot still. But like by and large, there's not like a lot of urgency or whatever. And also like, oh no, All Japan and Noah, who work basically a similar style, are feuding. So it's gonna just be the same thing. Blah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to shit on modern wrestling. I've enjoyed AEW a lot more often this year than I haven't, but like I watch old stuff and I'm just like, yeah, no, this stuff all still. You could take a lot of what I've been watching lately, like even the UWFI stuff, or like old Noah or promotions or Mid South. A lot of that stuff would still fucking work now. It's just people don't want to do it because they're convinced all people want to see are high spots, and I don't necessarily think that's true.
Yeah, absolutely. The Takada Blu-ray was kind of eye-opening, having not watched some of that stuff for a good while, and just seeing him work and like I said, also like different styles against like the Cobra and stuff was just like this shit rules, you know. It was just like the everything put together, just like the atmosphere as well was just like it just felt watching that. I've only watched the first disc so far, but just like watching that felt like it did feel very special.
Well, also watching that Blu-ray, it's a great reminder that Takada's like an underrated all-time great.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
guy was fucking incredible.
yeah.
Like,
It was weird too. Like they kept him in the juniors, you know, when he came back after during like the UWFI run and stuff. And you look at him and he's like these well built guys, tall. You think they would have just had him like heavy, but yeah, they kept him a junior heavyweight. And it was weird seeing like young Kazuo Yamazaki and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, like all these guys are like super good.
the match against Baby Liger when he's basically just a Dynamite Kid clone. That match
Holy
is amazing.
shit, dude! That dude is
He's so
fucking
jacked.
like people don't realize it because obviously, well, like the suit is most of his career, but like his veins are like bursting out of his body in that match.
Yeah, there's matches
He's
with him and
crazy.
Masakatsu Funaki early in Funaki's career And like those
Yeah.
matches are great too, which is crazy given how like fresh Funaki is. I wish like all hell we would have gotten a proper Liger Blu-ray with complete matches when he retired.
Mm.
Instead, we got like the TV Asahi marathon, but like clipped and in standard def. But the one thing about DVD is it's region 0. You don't have to do any funny shit to play it on a Western DVD player.
Right. Yeah.
You know, shout outs to the tape traders that made the TV Asahi collection available in HD.
Shout out
Really
to
did God's work.
the woman in that I think that New Japan UWF like 8-man tag who was knitting in the front row.
God bless her. Jesus Christ. But that'll probably do us for this week. We'll be back 2 weeks, probably, maybe. That'll be episode 99. Am I correct?
I believe so. It would be, yes, 99.
Okay. And then we'll see what shakes out. I need to start actually messaging people about, hey, do you want to come in and record a little bit for episode 100? So here's my idea, and I'll say this on the air before we go. I would like to have multiple guests, but I would also not like to have 6 people on at one time. So I'm going to try to see if after the next episode we record, if like that following time we're able to record, if we can get people, even if we have to do like a Saturday and or a Sunday, just get a couple people in and we'll just do like a big supercut fucking episode for 100.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
That's kind of my idea. So I'll get on the horn, as they say, and we just bullshit with people. It'll be like an 8-hour episode if everybody I'm thinking of messaging agrees to come
Yeah,
on. But
you're gonna start editing that then, that's for sure.
yeah. But like that's the podcast has been going for 3 years now, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
And episode 1, I did not think this was going to hit 100 numbered episodes. I'm not going to. We're going to do like 4 and get bored, and then that didn't happen.
Yeah, I think also like pulling away from just talking about the wrestling game of the week, which was the original idea, but like it's helped us expand and it's definitely helped me do different things like getting access to games and stuff like that, which I never expected. And obviously, like Fight Forever was a big deal for us. And yeah, I it's hard to believe it's been 3 years. Where does the time go?
Yeah, so this week, what day? So today's the 9th. So it was Monday at work, and it wasn't even like a bad day. It was just kind of one of those days where like trying to get everything done because I knew what was coming later in the week. And I was like, fuck, man, 3 years ago today, I walked out of the job that I had when we first started the podcast. And I guess that means tomorrow's because I started a week later, tomorrow's my 3-year anniversary where I currently work. I assume they will not acknowledge that at all, which is fine. I don't necessarily care, but it is crazy. Like time has flown.
Do you know how many episodes we've actually had?
Oh, with the special reports and shit, we've got to be like 10 at least.
109.
I was close. Is that counting today though?
Well, yeah, today would be 110. Yeah.
So yeah, I was right.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, I'm gonna start messaging people, and you can basically guess if you're listening to this right now who I want the guest list to be: Freem, Gakda, Ray, Bread. If we can get him like lined up with us, we'll see. I'll throw out a big net. We'll see what I catch.
He lives in. I don't know
He
where
lives
he
in
lives.
Texas.
Texas.
So he's like, that's right. I would, yeah, that's one. Here's the thing though. I think we follow each other on Instagram. I don't know that he knows I'm me. So by the time he hears this, he will likely have gotten a DM from me, but I'm going to start reaching out because I just think like, even if it's like a massive episode and it's kind of just like stitching together different conversations into like one really long form podcast, I think that's like probably the most appropriate way to celebrate, because like people did like the Freem episodes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the episode with Gak a lot, and there's like a million things we can talk to him about. I'd like to talk to him some more about backyard wrestling. And you know, like Melon Bread's Melon Bread. I could talk to that guy about the Aki games all day.
I think
So
too. Like, I don't know how much they can converge with each other, but having them on the same stream would be cool.
yeah, I just worry about having too many people on at once.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It becomes like a commentary team of too many people.
Yeah, like I don't want the booth to be huge, but like certainly having certain people on together would be a lot of fun. So this is episode 99, yeah? No.
This is 98.
Okay, so Okay. So yeah, next time we'll talk about something. I don't know. And then the next time after that, presumably, will be. So the way this is like timing out in my brain is that would be up the weekend after Christmas, which feels like the best time to drop a giant fucking bullshit podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we do. Actually, we'll end the podcast right here. So take care. Don't be an asshole. And then I have something to say real quick after we stop recording.
Okay. Adios.